111. What up? What up? What up? It's Chase Live. We're in the building right now. Mike D on this side, Coop on the other side. How are we doing on this Wednesday? On 7 o'clock tip.
Feel good. It's good to be the champ.
Glad I finally got my voice back, man. I felt like I was down for like 2 weeks. Shit's crazy, man. Like, and I know everybody else had other stuff going on as well, man. Like that flu season, COVID season, whatever, was just going around. I took it's crazy, man. Dana took a COVID test because she felt like she was coming out with something. She had to go to work, and you know how you come in like the 2 packages or whatever. So she took it. It was negative. So we figured, I didn't even need to take it. And I was like, you know what? Let me take it just to be sure. And yeah, it was a little pink line. I'm like, shit, I had this shit. It explains a lot because I hadn't been sick for that long in a minute. What up, everybody in the room? Shout out to everybody in the room. Thumbs up in the chat. You hear about what the Falcons did?
The Falcons didn't do anything, Mike.
What do you think about signing Kirk Cousins to 4 years, $180 million?
I think it's somebody that spent most of their life between Charlotte and between Atlanta. It's very clear to me why these two teams haven't won a fucking Super Bowl and are nowhere close to winning a Super Bowl because they do foolish things like this. They guarantee $100 million to a man who's only won one playoff game. What is he now, 34, 35? He's like 34, 35 now?
I think he might be. Is he 37? Hold on. I don't want to put that on Kirk Cousins. Hold on. Let me find the actual factual. Kirk
really,
Cousins
all
been
you
around
had
for a minute because Kirk Cousins was drafted with
RG3 and Andrew Luck.
Yes, and yep, exactly. 35.
Yes, he's 35.
RG3
So
and Andrew Luck, and he was
who were both
drafted on the
retired.
same team and the same draft as RG3 to the Redskins, right?
Yeah, he's a 4th round pick. So he's 35 years old. He's won one playoff game. He had the person who many consider to be the best wide receiver in football for the past few years, could do nothing with him. He had a 1,000-yard rusher for many years, and Dalvin Cook could do nothing with him. And somehow the Atlanta Falcons would rather pay this man $100 million guaranteed than handing the Chicago Bears a 1st and a 2nd round pick for Justin Fields, who is 25. Maybe not even 25 yet. He might still be 24, Mike.
I don't understand.
And literally, you have, for the next decade probably, a quarterback, a tight end, and a running back that can lead this team to something. For 2 picks. A 1st and a 2nd would have got us Justin Fields. Mike, a 2nd and a 3rd might have got us Justin Fields, and you'd rather pay Kirk Cousins $100 million. Can I just tell you right quick, because I don't want to cut you off, because I can tell you have a lot to say about it, too.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Arthur Blank is he's a great man in this community, and he does a lot of good work. And the people that work at Home Depot are some of the better taken care of people in this state. Like Delta and Home Depot and Coke are the things, but if you wanted a career and wanted a boss, he's better than the bosses at Delta and the bosses at Coke. And I know, because I know people that work within those organizations closely. But has an owner, ever since the Michael Vick thing, he's got a no nigga policy at quarterback that I don't like, Mike. And that's what this is really about. He didn't go get Justin Fields because Justin Fields is too close to Michael Vick. And he just refuses. He's going to keep on taking these. I ain't going to say it. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Down
home. That's kind of what I got from it, too. And I'm like, I just don't understand it. I mean, because it's one of 2 things, right? And obviously, I do think there is a cultural and race component in there. But my thing is, man, as a citizen of a city and where you come from and you represent, and they expect you to be diehard for your home team, right? You have to give your home audience something to root for as well. And when people who live in a city who constantly have organizations that make moves like these and never do anything to progress, don't get mad when people become Philadelphia Eagles fans. You're not a bandwagon fan at that point if you respect the sport and you actually see people out there making moves, doing exciting things that make you want to watch the sport, and putting people on the field that make you want to watch the sport. You know what? For years, I rooted for the New England Patriots because I liked the way that they put out product on the field. You know what I mean? Call
Ditto.
me whatever, call me bandwagon, whatever. But to be a fan of the sport of football, you want to see greatness. And when you see an organization that makes those moves and are constantly building something, that's how you get your fans and garner your fans. You're not going to solidify your fan base going from Matt Ryan, who really did nothing for us, right? Ultimately, I mean, a stat stuffer at best. And then you
No,
want
Kyle.
to pay.
Hold on, Mike. Only a stat stuffer when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator.
Sure.
Other than that, did nothing.
Exactly. True. And then you want to pay somebody like a Kirk Cousins, who, he's a serviceable quarterback. 180 million when you had the opportunity to get someone who is 10, 11 years younger and much better at the position. Like, look, good luck in having the fans excited for your for the season opener. Because this, I don't even feel like this is about money anymore because they skipped over Belichick, right?
Yeah.
Skipped over Fields. And I mean, how do you expect the fans to go out there and support this team? And if we don't go to the games or if we don't root for this team, then we're the ones that's wrong, right? Come on,
Rich
man.
McKay is still the GM, right?
Hmm.
Okay, he used to be a great GM. He's incompetent now, and somebody needs to just go ahead and call a spade a spade.
I
Like
feel like
Arthur Blank's a better person and he's a better human being than he is an owner, and Rich McKay is officially incompetent. But Mike, even with all that being said, they're still not the worst organization in football. That would be the Carolina Panthers, who let Brian Burns go for a second and a fifth round pick when they were getting offered 2 first rounders for him last year, and they just hiked up the ticket prices 4%. They're the worst organization in football because they have an owner who is a fucking idiot.
at
Owner
least you
sucks.
guys, at least you guys have drafted Cam Newton in recent memory. You had somebody like Steve Smith. I mean, you did.
Mike, that was 12 years ago that we
It
drafted
was,
Cam Newton.
but they still did it.
12
We
years ago.
we skipped. Who have we drafted? A lot of more.
Y'all
Was
drafted
it
nobody.
right? These draft. That's what I want to see. These draft picks that we refuse to give
Nobody.
up. Who are we gonna get with it? Who?
It's ridiculous.
And then the fact that the division is so trash, having Justin Fields here, that would have solidified us a playoff spot. Now we're probably going to make it to the playoffs with Kirk Cousins, but he's 35 years old and he's injury prone. He lost his job to the quarterback that was his backup last year.
Mike, he's a 35-year-old that's coming off of a torn ACL. The fuck is wrong
It's
with these people?
insane. Who pays a 35-year-old coming off of a torn ACL $180 million who's won one playoff game? Let me get to these super chats real quick. Cool.
Knock yourself in.
Is it Lotto More? Lotto More with the super chat says, "Thank God Coop is back. Ban Leroy for Fat Joe takes."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes, hold on. I'd like to apologize to the fans. I'm sorry that you had to suffer through Leroy and Ron. Don't worry. Like A level commentary is back. The B team is gone.
Mike H with the super chat says, "R.I.P. Bo." Y'all, boss. Yeah, R.I.P. boss for sure.
Yeah, boss
I
died a
don't have
couple
any
days ago.
details on that situation. I think it was a medical thing. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a very sad thing. Again,
Six had Boss's tape. I think the tape that dropped like 93, 94. Yeah, Six had the Boss tape. I remember Boss.
I've always felt, well, a lot of OGs have always told me that the Brat's whole steez and image kind of comes from Boss.
The imagery, the physical imagery of Funkdified is
Yeah, with
definitely
the big
Boss, because I
shades
feel
and all
like,
that. Yeah.
well, Boss was wearing, I think, the flannel, the bandana, and the glasses before Brad. So yeah,
Mm.
and
And
that's
Aaliyah too,
Detroit,
right?
and that's Detroit, and Chicago ain't too far, so that's Midwest. So yeah, there's some smoke to that.
And Aaliyah too. And she's from Detroit.
Oh, Leah definitely hijacked Boss's swag.
Mall 7 with the super chat says, I hate how they want Fields to fail so bad. But the same media talking heads don't bring up the fact that Golden Boy Trevor Lawrence blew a 4-5 game division lead. Yeah. Um, I mean,
It's a big
listen,
year for Trevor Lawrence. It's a
it
big year for
is.
Trevor Lawrence.
It's a show improved year for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
Also,
because what's his name down in Houston? The guy the Panthers should have drafted, C.J. Stroud.
yep,
Yeah, yeah. Stroud gonna
he's
put Trevor
playing.
out of business. Yeah,
I
yeah.
just I feel like there are teams in the league that Leroy's in the building now. There are teams in the league that are supposed to be bad. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there can't just be 4 or 5 teams that are competent enough to make the best moves. I remember when Golden State was making the moves that they made. Monte Ellis traded him off, got Andrew Bogut. They
Mm-hmm.
drafted Harrison Barnes in the draft. I was watching all that stuff. Like those things are exciting. You see somebody actually building a team, making the right moves for their team, and I'm nowhere near a professional when it comes to scouting or anything like that. But you can understand when a team is making adequate moves for the future, and it's hard for me to believe that there's only a handful of organizations that are, in pole position to do those things. This almost feels like you're setting up the Falcons to fail.
No, Mike. There's
Because
only about 5 to 7 competent organizations in football that consistently do things that make sense.
I mean, even when you
Mike,
look at the Bulls, man, when they basically blew everything with blowing the Bulls team up with Jordan, it's like, why? Who does
I'm
that?
afraid to I'm afraid to bring this up because I know it's early. But Mike, the Baltimore Ravens just got Derrick Henry. You know that, right? You
Yeah,
know the Baltimore Ravens got Derrick Henry.
yeah, that's a
I don't
great
want to
pick.
start my I don't want to start my campaign early, but I don't know. Maybe having Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the backfield will get that stupid ass offensive coordinator to maybe call more than 16 run plays in the championship game next year. Because they're probably going to be back in the championship game, but they're probably going to be playing the same damn team, the same damn quarterback. Let's see. Like, they don't have a choice but to run the ball this time because not handing the ball off to, like, Lamar Jackson ran 8 times in the AFC Championship. I think only 3 of them were design runs. That means the running back only got 8 carries. For a team that led the league in rushing the last 2 years, it's literally some of the dumbest shit that I've seen. And so, although the organization, as in the general manager, the owner, the coach, are stellar, offensive coordinator sucks. His ass is on the line this year. And quite frankly, Kansas City, Baltimore, San Francisco, and Philadelphia, organizationally, those 4 teams have proven themselves to just be superior to all the other organizations right now.
Mm.
They're just superior. They make superior decisions. They
Jermaine
just do.
Johnson with the super chat says, sports media. Kirk Cousins is great. Also, sports media. Dak Prescott is trash. Both things can't be true.
Jermaine, you're absolutely right. So let me submit something to you, Jermaine. Both them guys suck. Next.
He's hear about. Well, I
Got
know you
one.
heard about it. What do you think about LeBron getting 40,000 points?
I think it's a testament to his longevity, to his health, to his conditioning. I hate that these milestones are happening for him um, in losses, quite frankly. You know? I mean,
I mean, he's at
I
that
don't
point in
know.
his career.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I
I mean,
mean,
I don't. Is he at a point where he is actually really pushing for a championship? I mean, you would want a championship. Obviously, that's what you play for. But do we expect an NBA player in their 21st season to win a championship?
It does kind of feel like some stat padding going on. I mean, nobody's close. Like I will say this, the the scoring record might be out of reach, Mike. I
I think
mean, when
so.
I'm looking like Durant is, I mean, people don't realize Durant is like right behind Shaq right now. So he's about to move into like eighth or seventh all time. And he's around 28, 29,000, Mike. So Durant, I think, that's 4 years after LeBron.
That's
So to catch
crazy.
LeBron, so to catch LeBron, I mean, Durant's had more injuries than LeBron. The Achilles and then the Jones fracture of the foot cost him essentially, he's essentially missed a season and a half. So he should probably be at about 30, 31, 32,000. But if he's the closest person within striking distance is still playing, and he's 4 years behind LeBron, I mean, he would have to average about 2,500 to 2,700 points a season for the next 4 seasons just for this to be a viable conversation. And the only other person that's on the radar is Luka, and I don't think Luka's body, because of his style of play and lack of conditioning early in his career, a la Barkley, is going to hold up. So I don't think Luka's going to get there because of his body and his conditioning. Like he's in shape now. These first 4 or 5 years he's been playing, it hasn't been. And much like Barkley, I think is going to catch up to him late, and he's
Yeah.
going to end up slowing down. And so KD being around 28, 29,000 points and being the only person viable in sight, Mike, like Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, and James Harden are not going to make it to 30,000 points. You
People
know
got
what
to
I'm saying?
chill with the steroid stuff. I see people in the chat talking steroids and this and that. You
That's
gotta,
wild. Oh, Mike, while we're here, did you hear what Isaiah said on Draymond Green's podcast?
mm-mm.
He pretty much told Draymond Green to his face that Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors saved their legacy, because if not, they were about to be remembered as a 73-9 team that lost a 3-1 lead in one of the biggest choke jobs ever. He said that shit straight to Draymond's face.
Well,
And
that's
I
real.
wonder why. And why do people not look at their legacy that way? Like, people think that I just champion KD. It's like, when you think about it, though, he did save Steph, Draymond, and Clay's legacy, because
Yeah.
they not beating LeBron and Kyrie after that, Mike.
They might, based on the momentum or lack thereof, they might not even made it back to the finals. If
Yeah.
KD, let's just say hypothetically, and we'll never know. Hypothetically, KD stays in OKC. They got another year under their belt with their new head or then new head coach. Built some pieces around there. They already took those guys to 7, and with Golden State being demoralized after that finals, who's to say that OKC team doesn't just drag Golden State this time? We've seen that in the NBA, in NBA history, where a team takes a championship team to the brink, and then the next year they steamroll them. Let's look at Detroit and Chicago.
No,
That
I
happens.
remember
You know what I
Chicago.
mean? So yeah,
Chicago
I don't even
kicking
know
that
if they
ass the
make it
next
to
year.
the finals if KD doesn't go over there. And then as far as playing Cleveland or playing LeBron in the finals, forget about it. They already knew they couldn't beat those guys.
Right. So Isaiah made a very strong point. He's like, so people look at it, it's like, the Warriors made Kevin Durant's legacy. It's like Kevin Durant actually saved theirs, Mike.
He
And it's a
did.
very astute observation by Isaiah Thomas. Like, that's not coming from no regular dude. Like, Zeke is one of the best to ever do it. And as a point guard, I still have him ahead of Steph.
One of the greatest champions ever. I mean, according to Michael Jordan, he's the second best point guard he's ever seen, next to
And
Magic.
Michael can't stand him. Do you know what that means? That Michael Jordan can't stand you? But he's like, no, other than Magic, that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's coming from Michael Jordan. And so when he speaks, people really need to pay attention. But here's what I really want you to pay attention to, Mike. Karl Anthony Towns is hurt. He's out with a meniscus tear.
Mm-hmm.
If Denver get the number 1 seed, everybody in trouble, Mike.
Oh yeah, I mean they're the defending champions. It is what it is.
It's the way they play. I don't care that they're the champs, Mike. I'm talking about how they play basketball in the fourth quarter when it matters, defensively.
They know
and
how to
offensively.
win. Yeah.
They know how to win, Mike, and they're frightening. Who would be your All NBA first team this year so far?
That's tough. Who you got?
Luka and Shea Gill are in my backcourt. I would actually probably tell you Shea Gill would probably be my MVP right now if the season ended right now. Just because when this season started, who picked OKC as a top 5 or 6 seed, let alone having the the second best record in the league after the Boston Celtics.
Right.
So he would be my MVP. So Shea Gill and Luka would be my backcourt.
You got Tatum at the 3.
No, I don't, Mike. Kevin Durant's having a better season than Jason Tatum. He is literally averaging more points, more assists. He's shooting better from the field than Jason Tatum. He's shooting better from 3 than Jason Tatum. He's shooting better from the free throw line than Jason Tatum. The only thing Jason Tatum's done better than Kevin Durant this year is rebound the basketball, which I will give him credit for. Kevin Durant is 4th in the league in scoring. The nigga's 35 years old, Mike. All the other guys that are up there are under 30 that are leading the league in scoring. All of them,
having
Mike.
A pretty good year.
All of you. Yeah, he's averaging 28.5 points. He's shooting 53% from the field, like 44% from 3, 85% from the line. He's actually having one of his better seasons, Mike, and nobody's really noticing because the team's been hurt all year long. So he actually, even though Jason Tatum, how about this? Jason Tatum is the best player on the best team, but he's not having a better season than Kevin Durant, like by any metric except for the wins of the team. And so I tell you, KD should still be the 3 this year. He's having a better season than any other 3 in the league, and that's including Tatum.
The Golden State move helped save their legacy, but it knocked KD's legacy. Like it put an asterisk to some people on KD's legacy.
Absolutely. Like, how about this? If LeBron was putting up KD's numbers this year, he'd be first team and nobody would even question it. But because it's KD, it's probably going to go to Jason Tatum, but it should be KD, and Giannis and Jokic are going to round it out, the other forward in the center.
Right.
But also, too, if Embiid was healthy, Jokic wouldn't be making first team or being, it'd be Embiid right there. So, but that would be my 5. Like, those 5 players have played the best basketball this year.
The Clippers are still going to make it to the finals?
Mike, they better.
They look good.
To be honest with you, Mike, they have the best team in the league, and it's not even close, Mike. Like, I don't say this too often at this point in the season, but if they don't win the NBA championship, Mike, like their 4th option is Drew Holiday. When Drew Holiday is your 4th option, like, you should win the NBA championship.
They're cooking. I want to see them in Denver.
They're 0-2 against Denver. I don't think they want to see Denver.
Because
even with Porzingis, they still don't have no answer for Yoke, man. Embiid's the only legitimate answer for Yoke. Jermaine
Johnson with the super chat says, if MJ did this at the age of 39, everyone would view it as a major impressive bonus to his legacy. But now that Bron is doing it, we call it stat padding. I mean, you can never knock what Bron's doing, man, because we've never seen it before. I think that he'll be way more appreciated, when he steps away from the game. We got to appreciate the greatness that we're seeing. And, the fact that LeBron's been doing this 21 years, 21 seasons, going on 22, and doesn't seem to be slowing down at a tremendous rate. We just got to bask in the greatness, man.
We do. Okay, so longevity looks different. I think the person that he's been most compared to during his career, because their careers have kind of paralleled each other in a lot of ways, is Tom Brady. Tom Brady has all the NFL stat numbers due to his longevity and his health, and that's fine, Mike. But we call Tom Brady the GOAT because Tom Brady won 4 Super Bowls the last 10 years he played football, which is fucking absurd. Mike,
well, I will say this in LeBron's defense.
Mike, his last 10 years playing professional football, Mike, that man played in 6 Super Bowls and won 4 of them. And so when I'm talking about it comes off as stat pad, and it's because, well, the stats are there, but where are the championships?
This is what I'll say about LeBron, and Michael Jordan's my guy. I think LeBron made going into the finals looks so much easier than it is. And he walked into the finals damn near every year. And when he leaves the team, that team's not even a playoff team anymore. It's pretty insane. I think a lot of the times, not all of the time, when he went to the finals, motherfuckers had the team up to beat him. That's just proven. Like, listen, you just talked about the KD thing. They had to literally team up to beat him. So Jordan didn't have to deal with that part as much. You know what I mean?
Him at his peak, Mike, and Mike, make no mistake about this. Golden State had to go get the second best player in the league.
Yeah. They were
Getting in,
73-9, and they had to go get the
look,
second best player in the league.
Mike, if they would have got the third or fourth best player, they still would have fucking
It
lost.
wouldn't have been enough. Exactly. So he's had to deal with those
Still would have
type of
lost.
things his whole career. Like when he was in Cleveland, the first stop, I mean, he took on that Detroit team damn near by himself. He even in the East, he was beating that Toronto team, which is pretty good, by himself, damn near. You know what I mean? And he made it look very easy. And by the time he got to the finals, he was going up against super teams. And when he did what everybody else did, he got crucified for it.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I'm just saying.
the Lakers and the Celtics were super teams. You know what I'm saying? Like those Lakers
Definitely.
and Celtics teams, those were super teams.
Definitely.
I don't know what people are talking about. The 76ers team was a super team too. There were super teams running around, Mike.
Yeah.
The early Celtics Laker teams are super teams. Jerry West and Elgin Baylor on the same team is not normal basketball, Mike.
But it
Elgin
didn't
Baylor
become a
and Jerry
bad
West played on
thing.
the same team.
It didn't become a bad thing until LeBron did it. You know what I mean? I get it, and I've said this before. He teamed up with his draft class, which is slightly different than everybody else. But like you said, that Celtics and Lakers team in the 80s, super team. I mean, when you think about on paper, that Sixers team had Barkley, Julius Irving, fucking Moses Malone,
Maurice
Cheeks. That's a super team, man. Like it is what it is. That Heat team, Shaq won on when Wade was young. That team had everybody on it. That team had Shaq, Mourning, Christian Laettner. You go back to the 1992 draft. That's number 1, 2, and 3. It is what it is.
1, 2, and 5 by pick. Hold on, was Laettner the third pick in that draft?
I think Laettner was the third pick in that draft.
You're right, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 1, 2, and 3 pick.
And
Gary Payton, Antoine Walker.
Gary Payton,
Antoine Walker.
Yeah, they had motherfuckers on that team.
Shane Battier, Mike Miller.
But it's only a thing when Bron does it. You know what I mean?
No, I feel that. I mean, hey, do you remember the Lakers super team that the Pistons swept? Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Kobe, Shaq.
Kobe was on one of them super teams. And to be perfectly honest with you, man, Shaq ain't. I mean, LeBron's. Well, not many people have. But LeBron's never played with a Shaq in his prime ever. Wade did.
Neither did Michael Jordan.
No,
neither did Michael
Jordan. Not many people.
And Wade didn't play with a prime Shaq. That's not a prime Shaq.
He didn't play with a prime Shaq, but he played with a Shaq that could get things done still, and they had a lot of guys in that squad.
He played with 2010 Shaq, not 30-15 Shaq. That's what I always tell people. Dwayne Wade played with 2010 Shaq. Like
but
20 points, 10 rebounds Shaq.
Just having Shaq's body down there in the paint changes things.
I mean, if Wade doesn't hurt his abdominal against the Pistons a year before in 2005, they might go back to back, Mike.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just saying, man, that whole it seems like everybody's selective when it comes to LeBron and the super team argument. I think that's more of an ode to Michael Jordan. They feel like Michael Jordan never teamed up, and he didn't. But you know what? Michael Jordan didn't have to, because once again, back to our original conversation, and we're going to get on to some music. Jerry Krause did his job as a GM. He scouted Phil Jackson. He scouted Tony Kukoc. He made the trade for Oakley to get Bill Cartwright. They got Dennis Rodman. They traded so they could get Scottie Pippen. He didn't have to do anything but play his game because the organization was making moves. We can't say the same thing about Cleveland. So if LeBron's sitting there like, well, shit, I got to make my own move in year, what was that, 7? It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think people sometimes forget some things too. Like, first of all, John Paxson was like a McDonald's All-American.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like John Paxson, like if I'm not mistaken, John Paxson came out with Isaiah's class. Like he came out with Isaiah and all those guys a few years before Mike.
Armstrong was good.
Scottie Pippen averaged like 26 points his last year at Central Arkansas. Horace
Yeah.
Grant was first team all ACC defense and like second team. Like making second team all ACC like in the 80s and 90s, that's not a small thing. You're probably going to the NBA. Like you're really, really good
If
if you're
LeBron
making second
James
team all ACC.
if LeBron James had a front office like Chicago did during Michael's prime, where Jerry Reinsdorf was not Jerry Reinsdorf, Jerry Krause was making those moves, Jerry Reinsdorf signing off on it, or like the Lakers had over there, where they were constantly getting guys, he probably wouldn't have left Cleveland. But he played for a bad organization that had never done anything, had never made any moves, and he got crucified for making his own move to go to an organization where Pat Riley was at, who traditionally made moves.
Hey, Mike, Kobe walked into a team that had Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, Eldon Campbell, and Shaquille O'Neal on it.
He walked
Nick
into
Van
the
Exel and
Lakers
Eddie Jones were all
organization.
stars.
Yes. And he walked into the Lakers organization that was not going to have a bad team for long. It's easy to stay with an organization like that for a long time. It's easy for Tom Brady to stay with the New England Patriots for a long time. They're going to make moves.
Patriots weren't really like...
They weren't, but when he got there and they set a culture and they were doing things, there was no reason to leave.
Bill Parcells set up the culture there in the mid to late 90s, but they really didn't have a culture until they beat the greatest show on turf.
I agree. Stephon Young with the super chat says, refs won that finals for the Heat, and LeBron started the super team BS. No,
he didn't. I'm going to tell you who actually started the super team BS. It's when the Lakers got Wilt Chamberlain to try to beat the Celtics.
Well, yeah, if we're going to go that far back, sure. I think in the modern era,
like the first acquisition of a super team, like a team that's not put together, because the Celtics team was put together. That was all drafted, but that was when there was only 8 teams. When the Lakers got Wilt, like you have to understand, when the Lakers got Wilt, the 5 greatest basketball players who had ever lived at that point were Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and Oscar Robertson. They had 2 of the 4 on the Lakers, and Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Phil has 5 titles without Mike. Bron won titles with Tyronn Lue and Frank Vogel. He's never had Phil or Pop and still won 4 titles. But we could go on.
First of all, Tyronn Lue is the best coach in basketball, probably, Mike. So stop talking about Tyronn Lue like he's like some sort of slouch. He's a great coach. Like, he is probably the best basketball coach. Him and Eric Spoelstra and Greg Popovich, as far as the guys who are walking around. As far as the guys who are walking around, those are the 3 best coaches walking around right now. So Tyronn Lue is no slouch. And, Mike, it just don't change the fact that you're 4-6 in the finals, though, fam. Like, you're 4-6 in the finals. Like, you are what your record says you are. You're 4-6 in the finals.
Again, a lot of people teamed up to beat him. In his defense, how many of those finals do you think that he lost and should have won?
I mean, Mike, he should have won that Dallas final, so he should be 5-5.
I picked Dallas, and I mean, we could go back.
That's his fault. I don't care.
I picked Dallas. So I think Dallas just was way deeper than that team. And again, Jason, Rick Carlisle. I just don't think that Miami had the depth yet, but they did have them on the brink.
LeBron, Mike, at the time that they went to that finals, Wade's knees are still working. And so the 3 best players in the league the year they lost that title in this order are probably Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. You had the 2nd and 3rd best players in basketball. A lot of people thought LeBron was the best by then. I still think it was probably Kobe, but you had 2 of the top 3 players in basketball. Like, you shouldn't have lost. I don't want to hear it.
I think Dallas,
especially Wade averaged like 28 points in that finals. Like, no excuse.
Dallas was 3 deep in all positions, and I will say this: Jason Terry backing down LeBron and posting him up. There's no excuse for that. I think they just got demoralized at that point. I think that the depth of that Dallas team just kind of wore them down. It's kind of like when you see Deontay Wilder get beat. He just got worn down. That's what that series looked like. You know what I mean? But I do think that San Antonio team that beat them with that Ray Allen. Well, no, that was the one they won. The one after, the last one in Miami. before he left and went back to Cleveland. I do think that San Antonio team was better than them at that moment. I think that the Heat were missing something. So,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think Wade didn't hold up
They were
in
they
at a
were
bar
missing
at that
cartilage in
point.
Dwayne Wade's knees, Mike. The
Yeah.
cartilage in Dwayne Wade's knees is what was missing.
So I
Because
can't
they would have
fault him
beat him
for
had he had
losing
cartilage
that
in his
one.
knee.
I can't fault him for losing that one either. And I definitely can't fault him for losing the ones to, with KD in Golden State. So
That's
yeah, I
four
mean,
of them.
yeah. Mall 7 with the super chat says, remember in 2010, Cleveland didn't want to trade J.J. Hickson for Amari Stoudemire? Crazy. See, this is the type of stuff we're talking about with these
Bad
organizations.
organizations.
Yeah.
Bad
Jay Short with the
organizations.
super chat says, just want to send out some love and prayers to the legendary rapper Forte, who looks like he's in some poor health. He may not have been the most popular Bay rapper, but he's quintessential Bay rapper. Yeah, he's very, very important. Prayers up to
I
rapping
dig
Forte
Forte.
for sure. People had issue with some of my Fat Joe takes, man. I don't think Fat Joe's a top 50 MC all time. And I was kind of confused with why people thought that I was hating or whatever. Like, this is the thing, man. There's certain people who are obvious, right? Nobody's gonna sit here and say, Fat Joe's better than Yassine Bey or Talib Kweli or Lupe Fiasco or somebody like that. So that goes without saying. But the part that gets me is people have problem with me saying that Jeezy was better than Fat Joe. He is.
He is.
Project Pat is better than
He's
Fat
made
Joe.
better. I don't know about Project Pat. Jeezy has
Yeah.
made better albums and better songs than Fat Joe.
Yeah, I mean, Project Pat has Mr. Don't Play. He has Getty Green. He has stood out on records. I can't say
I
the
don't think
same
Project.
Fat Joe.
I can't co-sign the Project Pat, Mike. I'm gonna co-sign the Jeezy. Like, you know what I was listening to the other day?
Yeah, I think Pat's better than Jeezy, but I got you.
I don't agree with that either. I was listening to Leave You Alone off 103 with Neo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking to myself, man, Jeezy really knows how to put a song together.
Speaking of
Like,
which,
he does. Like, Leave You Alone probably wouldn't even, like, would you play that in a verses if you had 20 Jeezy songs?
probably not.
But it's a banger, Mike. I was listening to the record. I was like, this shit goes.
Do you think Fat Joe's better than Juvenile? Because I don't.
No.
Do you think Fat Joe's better than Mystical? Because I don't.
No.
He's not.
No.
And see, these are just people that I wouldn't even
I think
put in that 50.
I think when you compare him to Southern contemporaries, it's easy for a New Yorker to be like, whoa. Because of everything. Because Fat Joe means something to the hip hop community. He means something to the Bronx. He is a connective thread for his times to a lot of different things. And so he's beloved for that. But if we just talking on some rap shit, no. I love Project Pat. I'm not the Project Pat fan that you are. I do think that he's not as good as Jeezy, Juvenile, and Mystical, though. But also, too, Mike, hold on. Juvenile wouldn't crack your top 50?
I think he could. He could.
He could.
You know what I mean? Now that's up for discussion again. And I could name, and I've written it down, and I'll put the list out there, but I can name 50 easy. I don't even know if he's top 75, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother
I would
day.
agree with you, Mike. I could literally list 50 MCs off the top of my head right now that are better than Fat Joe.
Because if we could sit here and say Mystical is better, which he is, what's the problem? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Joe ain't got no, what I'm saying, unpredictable or no, here I go, take it fat. Like,
here's the problem. Joe, you could probably get the 35 MCs just easily before you would stop at Joe, is what I think Joe's problem is. Like, how about this, Mike? You will admit that Eminem's better than Fat Joe, won't you?
Of course he is.
Okay, see,
it's not even a question.
That's the problem. When you admitting that Eminem's better than somebody, Mike, everybody got a problem.
This is the thing. The truth is, what record can we say that Joe was on where he stood out or had the best verse or stole the show? I can say that about Eminem in many aspects, and I might not believe that Eminem's top 10 like certain people believe, but certain things are just real. He does have a Bonnie
So,
and Clyde 97. He does have, you know what I'm saying, a Superman or Sing for the Moment or even Lose Yourself. He has these
okay,
records.
so let's
He has a
so
stand.
let's
Joe ain't got this stuff.
so let's work in reverse right quick, Mike. He's not better than Kendrick, J. Cole, or Drake, right?
No. While you're
Hold,
at
hold
this
on.
generation, he's not better than Crit or ASAP Rocky either.
Hold on. Let's pause on those. Freddie Gibbs and Conway the Machine.
No.
Pusha T.
No. Who would even say that? Look, say that out loud. Like Fat Joe's
No.
better
I'm
than
just,
Push.
I'm just listing MCs out. You already said Eminem's better, Mike. I think
Yeah,
there's your usual suspects. So Big and Pac and Jay and Nas and Rakim and Kane and KRS-One and Cool G Rap and Slick Rick are better, right?
of course.
We're at 16. We're at 16, Mike.
It's not
Ice
even.
Cube is better, right?
Yeah.
Scarface is better,
Yep.
right?
What
Q-Tip
about
is
DJ
better.
Quick?
Yeah, Quick's better.
Of course.
That's 20.
Yeah.
Um, let me see.
Snoop.
Big Boy,
Yeah. And you
Method
know
Man,
what?
Mike. Wu-Tang Clan. How many members of the Wu-Tang Clan are better than Fat Joe? Method Man, Ray, Ghost, Deck, Jizza, right?
Yeah.
So is AZ better?
Yes. Is that
That's
even a
27.
question? Is that
Pharoah
even a
Monch,
question, Coop?
Pharoah
Yes.
Monch,
Yeah.
Yasin,
Yeah.
Talib,
Yeah.
Common,
Yeah.
Redman. I
Yeah.
just named 32 MCs,
We didn't
like
even
just
go
off
to
rip.
Snoop. We didn't even go Snoop. Chuck
Snoop's
D.
better. That's
Chuck,
33. That's 34.
Chuck D. The Game.
35.
You think he's better than Black Thought? 'Cause I don't.
Fuck no. 36.
Busta Rhymes.
37.
50 Cent.
38.
Lil Wayne.
Posanu.
Yeah.
39, 40.
T.I.
41.
Kanye
Rick
West.
Ross.
Yeah.
Conway. 42, 43. I
Yeah.
mean 41, 42.
Jadakiss.
43.
DMX.
Styles. Look, Styles. 44.
Beanie Siegel. Prodigy.
45.
I mean, are we
46.
serious? We didn't even say LL Cool J yet.
47.
Q-Tip.
I already said Q-Tip.
Oh, you did? Okay. Schoolboy Q. How
Master
about
Ace.
that?
Look, Master Ace and MF Doom, Mike.
Yeah. I didn't even say
46.
Doom.
Yeah.
What about Ludacris?
Yeah.
Come on. That ain't even a question. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. And I'm
Yeah.
tripping?
Mike, you
No.
think Ja Rule's better than Fat Joe?
Of course he is. We saw that in the verses. You know
You
what?
think
Because
Nelly's better than Fat Joe?
I do. I don't see why anybody would think otherwise. Like, again, even if it's a
You think,
lyrical miracle
hold
conversation,
on.
Joe ain't even
Now let's
got that really.
now let's pause, Mike. Lil Kim,
Yeah, of course. I believe that.
Foxy,
I believe that. MC Light,
Lauryn Hill, MC Light, Queen Latifah,
Queen Latifah, yeah.
Tretch.
Of course, Tredge. I mean,
So when
really,
you're
I'm just being real here. Like,
no, Mike. I mean, you say a lot of outlandish shit. I just wanted to do it live so people understand and hear it out loud. You're not outlandish for saying this, though.
I don't
This is not
understand why
outlandish,
people have a problem with this.
Mike. Royce the 5'9".
Of course, we didn't even name Pun. We left Pun out of this.
Mike Remy.
Now, I might give Joe the edge over Remy because of his catalog. Now, I will give him that. Remy don't have a catalog.
Oh, Mike. We didn't say DMX.
I said DMX. I
Oh,
said
you
him
said
after
DMX?
Jada. Yeah.
Okay.
Jason
I didn't
Jason
count that one.
Hodges. Jason Hodges with the super chat says Bron averaged 17 in that finals. Yeah, that's pretty bad. No
Mike, that is
excuse.
the worst performance. That's the worst performance an all-time great player has ever put up in an NBA Finals, though. It is.
It probably is, yeah.
No, ain't no probably, Mike. Nobody's ever been that good and come up that small. It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
unacceptable.
James Smith with the super chat says, I'm 32 and I'm from New York, and Joe is not a top 50 all time, not even a top 25 from NY. You
We know
think
that,
Fat Joe
Mike.
better than Killer Mike? Because I don't.
In a vacuum, no. Overall, yes.
Explain.
I mean, Joe's had better albums and better songs than Killer Mike. Like on some rap shit, Killer Mike's better. But in the totality of it, no, like Jealous One's Envy is a dope album.
It
Non
is.
Cartagena is a dope album.
It is.
He's made a lot of hit records. Like, yeah, like Lean Back is bigger than anything Killer Mike's ever fucking done. So is What's Love. Yeah, like he's got big records. He's got some stuff in the bank, Mike. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so
So you
although
don't
I
think
know
Killer
Killer
Mike's
Mike is
top
a better
50 either?
Oh no, I don't.
Hmm.
Never felt that way. That's crazy.
Wow. What about
That's
Pastor Troy?
crazy.
What about
Mike,
Pastor
what is
Troy?
Killer Mike? Mike, not to be funny, what has Killer Mike done to be considered a top 50 MC? Like, because if Michael is your best album, like if this album is his best album, that's why he's not top 50.
Run the Jewels doesn't count for anything?
Ask black people.
Leroy Green with the super chat.
Ask a black dude on Dave Chappelle show. Ask a black guy.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, "Cool. Most people have not heard most of Joe's music, like all MCs you just named, so they're judging without hearing. Why haven't they heard Joe's music?"
How about this? This is what
we
I'm saying.
have.
Okay,
Don't say most people, because we have, and the people that are sitting here saying these things have heard all sides.
Hold on, Mike. Mike, is he better than Buckshot? Is he better than OC? Is he better than Chubb Rock? Is he better than Special Ed? Special Ed was nice, Mike.
Is he better than Corrupt?
No.
No, he's not.
Absolutely.
He's not.
Absolutely.
Nobody would say Mike, this. Is he better than Twista? No.
No. Has he made, Mike, album-wise, has he made anything better than AZ's Do or Die? Or OC's Word Life? Or Black Moon's Into the Stage? Does he have an album like that?
No, what they would say with OC is they would hit you with the hits, right? That's a good one, My Mere Thoughts. Shout out to My Mere Thoughts. I know it ain't a super chat, but he always be, sending big money. Trick Daddy. Is Fat Joe better than Trick Daddy? Because I would say no.
I'm going to lean Fat Joe over Trick Daddy.
Why?
No, he's album work is comparable, hits are comparable. He's a superior MC to me than Trick Daddy.
Does he have standout moments like Trick Daddy does, though? And again, I try to sit here and look at if we want to go to
Trick Daddy standout moment for you, Mike? Because Trick Daddy's standout moment to me is his verse on Scarred, the Uncle Luke joint.
I like that. I was gonna say stuff like I'm a Thug Holiday, and things like that, and having that kind of range where it's like when it comes to Joe, his hit records, it's got to be attached to Ashanti, or it has to be attached to R. Kelly, or Chris Brown, or Ja Rule. It's a lot of help. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Trick had a lot of help too, Mike. His biggest song is still Nan with Trina. In the Wind with Big Boy and CeeLo. He's definitely not better than CeeLo either. You can add CeeLo to the list of rappers Fat Joe's not better than.
Not better than CeeLo. No.
Is he better than Gip?
I don't think so, but one could make the argument of the catalog.
He's got more evidence for an argument. He's got an argument.
But I don't think so. I mean, if you were to ask me straight up on a track who I'm picking between the two, I'm picking Gip, but I wouldn't even put that on the list because that would seem biased.
No, that'd be an ATL bias if you pick Gip over Fat Joe, though, because Gip doesn't have Fat Joe's solo catalog or hit making ability.
What about people like Sahai the Prince? Or people that we know rap their ass off like a JID? Because I know when I said ASAP, you said we'll come back to that. But really, because when I look at ASAP Rocky, right, and Crit too, these are people who had moments and had real fan bases garner around that because of these moments. Joe's never had that. You know what I mean? Like when Purple Swag came out, ASAP had shit on lock and didn't even need New York to do it. Like, have we seen Joe have that kind of movement? We saw Pun do it.
I might give you ASAP, but only about Long Live ASAP, like the actual record Long Live ASAP. Because
Free
I
with the
think
super.
that might be better than anything Joe's. I don't know. Is Long Live ASAP better than Don Cartagena to you?
I
Because I don't
personally
know if
might
it is.
lean more towards. I don't know, man. I like both, but
I
I
think
think
Don
that
Cartagena is better than Long Live ASAP.
I think Don Cartagena is. There's a lot of help there. There's some help on Long Live ASAP, but I think Long Live ASAP means more to its era than Don Cartagena does to its.
That doesn't make ASAP better though.
Free with the super chat says, "Let's stop the cap. There are arguably 4 rappers from the 90s with certified hits in the 2010s. Wayne, Jay, M, and Joe. You got him and hold on. And Joe's songs are better than M and Jay, the Jay ones. 2010s, 90s artists. I feel like somebody's missing. We're
Is
not
he better
counting
than
Snoop
Master
Dogg.
Ace?
Hold on. We're not counting Snoop Doggy Dogg. So you're gonna put Joe in there, and we're not gonna put Snoop in there because Snoop had hits in the '90s and the 2010s as well.
Beautiful.
What song are we talking about? All the Way Up? Because honestly, man, All the Way Up ain't like that. I'm just,
No, I like All the Way Up, Mike.
it's
I like
cool,
All the Way Up.
but it's forgettable.
How about this? All the Way Up was a record. It's like, oh, I didn't know you still had that in you. That's what's up.
How the verses go? Because I don't remember.
Valid point, Mike. Like I know how the verse goes, but now that I'm spitting it out to myself, it's like I'm not rapping that shit.
That was more about French Montana and the beat.
The beat's crazy.
He's a good beat picker. I'll give him that. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, "I bet that 50 Cent thinks that Joe is a top 50 rapper. He wouldn't have. He wouldn't have ever. I'm sorry. I bet 50 Cent thinks that Joe is a top 50 rapper. He wouldn't have had a public beef with Joe if he didn't see him as a threat. Did he really have a public beef with Joe though?
Hold on, that's not true.
Right.
50 Cent will beef with will beef with an inanimate object, Mike. Like if one of the if the third little piggy pulled up on 50, 50 would be like, I can't blow your house down, but so I'm gonna blow the bitch up. He'll beef with anybody. He'll beef with anybody.
Joe's not better than Cam.
No, he's not. Okay.
I don't think he's better than Mace either. But Mace had a short career, so there could be an argument made. But again, I'm looking at people who had individual moments, like that moment that
better than
Mace
Big
had in
L?
'97.
Is he better than Big L?
I don't think so. But again, that's more of a catalog conversation. If people feel like Big L's better, then you have no problem saying Mace is better too. Did we even say
Whole Children of the
Fabulous?
Corn is better.
Because Fabulous is better.
Fab is better. Yeah.
How many people have we named? We've passed 50 a long time ago.
Oh, we're in the 60s, Mike. We're in the 60s.
We're like in the 70s at this point. Peter Stone with
Mike,
the super chat
said,
said,
up on the 70s.
What about people like Rhapsody? Benny the Butcher.
Benny might be better.
Benny is better. Look at the catalog.
Yeah, Benny got Tana Talk 3.
Yeah.
Tana Talk 3 is better than
And just bar for bar is better too.
Well, I know that. I mean, bar for bar, he's standing next to Conway like all the time, and he's like rapped on Jadakiss's level, like on a record. That's like we've heard them like go after. I've heard Jadakiss go right after Benny on a song, and wondered to myself, did he just get Jadakiss? He's done the same thing with Black Thought as well.
Peter Stone with the super chat says the chat said Joe's not top 25 from NY. That's hate. Well, let's explore that.
No, that's true. Because most of the guys are from New York. Like, don't do that, fam. I mean, okay, so let's just break it down right quick. Like, let's start with Wu-Tang Clan and go ahead and get them out the way. Meth, Ray, Ghost, Jizza, Decker better, right? That's 5.
That's 5. Yeah.
Nas, Big, and Jay are better. So are Rakim and KRS.
That's
10.
Kane.
Cool G Rap, Slick Rick, Chuck D, Kane, right?
That's
LL,
14.
that's 15. LL
15.
makes 15,
Yep.
right? That's
Yep.
New York, right? We still got Buster, right?
Yep.
Still got AZ, right?
Mm-hmm.
We still got Talib and Mos, right?
That's 19.
Still
DMX.
got Papamoose and DMX. That's 2021,
All right.
right?
Q-Tip.
Q-Tip 22. Pharoah Monch would
Prod-
be 23.
yeah. Prodigy. That's 24.
Prodigy 24. These are easy picks, Mike. We can just put Lil Kim and Foxy in 25, 26.
Styles
Boom,
P.
bam.
Whatever.
Styles, Kiss,
Yeah. See, not 25. And we didn't even say pun once again. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Pun,
Yeah. It's. No,
Big
it wasn't
L,
hate. It's just
Buckshot,
actual factual.
Master Ace, Mike.
I mean,
Master
after this
Ace, you know
last
Master
Master
Ace.
Days, yeah.
Master Ace who just dropped the album of the year contender this year.
Mm-hmm. Zuri said, Mike, you said Gucci was better than Joe. Come on. I believe that.
I don't know about that.
I believe it. I mean,
I don't know
again,
about
these people have held their own and had moments. These people have fan bases, man. I can't say the same. Like, it's a difference. I think Pastor Troy too. But
No, you're going too
and
far.
I'm
You're
not
going too
even a
far for
Pastor
me.
Troy fan. I'm looking at the careers. I think that even if you wanted to make a case that, okay, lyrically you think one is better, but are they? Because people can't even tell me what's his best verse or best mic performance.
It might be
This
New
is a
York.
style thing. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
might be New York.
yeah, because
The New
you're
York record
rapping
was
in a
Ja Rule.
certain style, then you're supposed to be a better MC.
Yeah, it's New York with Ja Rule. That's his best verse, but Kiss totally destroyed that shit.
I was
So
gonna say, yeah, if it's New York, then he doesn't even have the best verse on that song. What does that say?
no,
Dre
I
Seven
mean
that says
it's
Killer
Kiss.
Mike says
It's
Michael
Kiss,
is
Mike.
the adult Illmatic.
It's not.
Killer Mike is a great salesman.
Yeah, it's not.
Gary
It's
Pierce
not
with the
that.
super chat says, "What up, fellas? Queen's in the house. I'm 44 and I heard Joe's music. He's top 100 all time, likely somewhere in the 70s." And
That's
speaking
about
of
right.
the 70s, we didn't even mention people like Melly Mel, folks like that.
Cool Mo D, Grandmaster Caz.
Yeah, because honestly, man, let's keep it a buck. Nobody's going to tell you that Fat Joe's better than Kool Moe Dee. No one's going to tell you
Not from that era. If you were trying to convince somebody from that era that Cool Mo D isn't as good as Fat Joe, they might slap the shit out of us, Mike.
that. That's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. Jay Short with the super chat says, Fat Joe is the Paul Pierce of hip hop. Yeah, he may have won a chip back in the day, but now he's trying to run his mouth to youngsters and convince them that he was Kobe. Old heads know better. At first I wasn't with you, Jay Short, but I understand the correlation. Because I like Paul Pierce, and Paul Pierce is great. But yeah, if you want to go tell young niggas that you was Kobe or Wade level, it's just not real.
Okay, so I mean, I like Paul Pierce too, Mike. Paul Pierce is a little overrated because Paul Pierce wasn't the winner until Kevin Garnett showed up.
The first super team of this era.
Yeah, KG's the person that stirs the drink on that team. Paul is the one that had to go get buckets against Kobe and against LeBron. But KG is the man on that team. Like he defensively changed the way Paul Pierce and Ray Allen didn't know what fucking defense was until Kevin Garnett showed up and told them we're playing defense now.
And if we're talking about what Pierce had to do offensively, it definitely helped to have a Ray Allen there too. Because Ray Allen might be quiet and might not be flashy, but Ray Allen is a top level guard. He is and this might not have been Ray Allen that was jumping out the gym and ducking over folks, but he still had all his skills there. He wasn't washed at all.
Have you ever watched those series and seen how many jump shots Kobe and LeBron took? Do you know why they're taking all those jump shots, Mike?
Yeah, because Ray Allen over there.
No, because Kevin Garnett's in the post, Mike. You're not just going to the hole. They could have drove past Paul Pierce. You know who was waiting when they drove past Paul Pierce?
You're right.
One of the 5 greatest defensive players of all time.
And then they had somebody like a Kendrick Perkins as a rock down there too, who wasn't
Right.
afraid to mix it up.
So if Paul Pierce don't have KG, Kobe and LeBron about to bust that ass, get 60, 70. Like, no exaggeration. Like, drive right by him and get that 60.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Ye recited Flo Joe on Drink Champs. But Ye is ahead. I mean, I think that's more of a ode to how much of a hip hop head Kanye is than it is how much of a hit that FloJo is. Like,
no, FloJo is the shit.
It was cool.
He did that.
I
think he did that at the Apollo. I think he debuted that record at the Apollo.
Mm-hmm. Jay Short with the super chat says, Fat Joe is Paul Pierce of hip hop. Yeah, he may have won. Did you send that again? Appreciate that, Jay Short. Leroy Green with the super chat says, cool.
He's like, y'all gonna get my message. You're gonna get my message.
He's like, I want to say that again. He is the Paul Pierce of hip hop. Leroy Green with the super chat says,
hold on 1 second. Jay Short, you from Cali, Paul from Inglewood. You gonna hate on your side? Like
he's just being real, I guess. You know, he probably felt that, Paul flipped on him when he was going against the Lakers, man. He played for the enemy. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, I can make an argument that Ross is better than most based on albums. But most people have not heard his catalog. What album you heard after 98?
What, Fat Joe album?
Yeah.
No, I listened to all of Fat Joe's like 2000s work. They're just not.
What should we listen to, Leroy? How about that?
No, hold on.
Because we've heard them.
You have to connect, guys. Like, you have to connect. Like, he doesn't connect on a level that makes you think like when he's rapping, you're hearing a God level MC. Like, here's what I realized, Mike. You want to know why you and I like Aquamarine by Black Thought so much?
Spitting.
Mike, you could slide Aquamarine on Let the Rhythm Hit Him and it would never skip a beat. That's lyrically, that's the level that he's operating on. He is operating on a prime Rakim type of level as an MC on Aquamarine. And so when we hear it, we're in love with that song because we know that's what the peak looks like.
Yeah.
That's what the top looks like. And you and I have referenced that mic performance on Aquamarine many times. It's like, well, that's just stellar stuff. Fat Joe doesn't evoke that on some rap shit to you, even though we know that he's a dope MC capable of making a quality record. There's never been no God MC talk around him. Like, I don't know how many times we've done this show, Mike, and I've talked about Redman's Muddy Waters, and you spit mess verse from Do What You Feel. Yeah. I don't know how many times I've brought up Redman's third verse on How High. How many times have we brought up Meth's verse on Shadowboxing? You don't want to like do this Nas, Jay, and Big shit like about verses. Like, you really don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mike, I just came on here earlier and I was like, at the start of the year, I was like, Ain't No Half Stepping by Kane might be the best Mike performance like that's like ever. Like, as far as 4 verses. Yeah. Like, we don't have those.
Me and Mickey Fax had that conversation too. I mean, after you said that, because that's his OG, and he's like, man, Kane. I mean, the mic performances are crazy, and those are the things that
are absurd, Mike.
Those are the things that pulled me into hip hop. Like, we're '90s hip hop babies, right? But mic performances is what got me there. The songs and all that stuff is great. It's cool, but when you're an MC, those performances like Shadowboxing and stuff like that with Method Man on there, like, those are the things that made me want to get involved in this thing. And I can honestly say, and I'm not saying this on no hater shit or whatever y'all want to call it, I've never heard a Fat Joe mic performance where I was like, yo, this thing is snapping. I've never heard, and for Leroy, what he said Monday was like, well, Fat Joe's not a lyrical guy, he's a gangster rapper. I've heard gangster rap verses where I'm like, yo, that shit was hard. Never felt like that either.
This is okay. So let's go to it. This is what I mean about how you have to connect, though, Mike. It doesn't have to be super lyrical to connect. It's called charisma. It's called cadence. It calls flow. It's called relatability. Let me give you an example of a quote unquote gangster rapper spitting some shit that's not super lyrical, but we all know the words, Mike. It's one of the greatest rap songs ever. Left my homie's house paid. Picked up a girl, been trying to fuck since the 12th grade. It's ironic. I had the boo, she had the chronic. The Lakers beat the Supersonics. Felt on the big fat fanny. Pulled out the jammy and killed the poop and nanny. Is that super lyrical, Mike?
No, it's not.
Do we all know the words, Mike?
Yeah, it connects.
Do we all sing the words, Mike, every time it comes on?
Yeah, I sang it just now, man.
Mike, that's great emceeing. You have to connect. Mike, everybody knows the Lakers beat the Supersonics line. Everybody.
Yeah.
I had the boo, she had the chronic. The Lakers beat the Supersonics.
Zuri with the super chat says, "It ain't like that, Mike, to every known and popular song." Yo, is he better than Guru?
Mm-mm.
Leroy Green.
That's crazy talk, Mike. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's
so
crazy.
I'm crazy for saying he's not top 50. Leroy Green with the super chat says, "Comparison only comes because you haven't heard enough music to critique." I'm sorry, you haven't heard enough music to critique. Even people you're naming, I doubt you can list their songs after the 90s. Okay. It seems like this is more of a I made music outside of the 90s conversation. Well, if he made music in the 90s, which he did, how much of a factor in the 90s was he compared to these people that we're talking about in the 90s? And then if you want to shift it over to another era, how much of a factor was he in that pool of people outside of the 90s as well? Are we just giving participation points because you stayed around? I mean, listen, there's a lot of players who went, like, is Tony Delk better than Tracy McGrady? Is this what we're doing? Like, guys that just stayed in the league a long time? Like, no.
Hold on. Here's the best way that we can phrase this. During the quote-unquote era that he came up in, where lyrics were more at a premium, he was never considered to be a premium commodity. Even when hit-making became the thing, when hit-making became the thing, he was still never a premium commodity.
Yeah.
He was never considered to be a Ja Rule, a Nelly, a Eminem, a Jay, a 50, a Ludacris, a T.I., a Rick Ross, or even a Jeezy. He was never even a hit maker on that level. No. Like, those guys were making big records. Like, Mike, you know how I feel about Jeezy. It's like, man, like there was a moment where I was like, if they play Go Crazy on the radio one more time, I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah. And you got to respect those moments. And I'm not even a Jeezy fan like that per se, but I will acknowledge his moments. I will acknowledge the records that I love. And I could even pinpoint where I think his best verses, if not his best verse, is. I can't do that with Joe.
How about this, Mike? Let's take it down. You know how I feel about T.I.'s What You Know. Does Fat Joe have a 3-verse song like that that's a hit record?
No.
So, Mike, we ain't having no Quiet Storm or Incarcerated Scarface's conversation, are we?
No, we're not. And I'm just being fair, man. People kept naming songs like John Blaze. I'm like, he has the weakest verse on there. And, you know.
Does he have something comparable to like A Milli by Lil Wayne?
No, not by himself, no. Not at all.
Does he have 50 even dissed him about it. That nigga thought Lean Back was in the club. My shit sold 11 mil. His shit was a dud. Like Lean Back's the shit, but that ain't no In the Club. And Remy has the best verse on Lean Back too.
Hey.
I love Joe. Like Mike, I love Joe.
I like some of his music.
I've been fucking with Joe since Jealous One's Envy. That's 95. Like, I've been fucking with Joe for a long time. Like, I love Fat Joe, but a spade is a spade, Mike.
I'm big on Terror Squad. Like I fuck with Terror Squad heavy. Even their affiliates, Beat Nuts. You know I'm a big Beat Nuts fan. Money Off the Books is crazy. But when we were listening to those Terror Squad albums back in the day, he didn't shine over those guys. I didn't look at him to do that. I almost looked at him, and I'm saying this respectfully, in a Diddy type of capacity.
You want to know what his most impressive feat might be, Mike? It might be just keeping pace with Pun on Twins. That
Yeah.
might be his best mic performance because he stayed within Pun's realm as an MC.
Even though he used Snoop's blueprint to pretty much craft his verses, though. I mean, and just put his name in there, creep with me. As I roll through the beamer, on the kids on the spot, call me Don Cartagena, kicking ass as I blast off heat. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's Snoop's verse. It is what it is. Gio with
It's
the
not
super
better
chat.
than Snoop either.
Hell no. Gio with the $20 super chat showing love. He says, guys, is there a bias against Joe? See why we're bringing facts. Joe has better projects and more longevity compared to most of the guys you named. I felt there was
That's
bias
true.
when you guys named Queen Latifah. This is wild. By the way, Pun is top 3 in New York. All right, why do you think that it's biased when it comes to Queen Latifah? Because she does have All Hail the Queen. She has
Black
records
Rain.
like yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Black Rain's crazy. She has Ladies First in her catalog. She has UNITY in her catalog. She has
Just Another Day.
Day in her catalog. Does he have those kind of records?
Like, how about this, Mike? He doesn't even have. How about this, Mike? Queen Latifah is the scene stealer on the "I Wanna Be Down" remix. Like, where's his scene stealing verse like that? Like, she shut that shit down. About yay short, about yay tall,
You got
about
it.
so big, about so small, about this length, about this width, about this flow, about this gift. Instinct leading me right up your alleyway. Skip the Moet, let's chill with some Alizé. Enough stress in our day. Let me massage your mind as my mental starts to play. A ghetto star's who you are, and I'll be your sexual chocolate bar. Like, she shut shit down, Mike.
Right.
Her flow, her cadence, her bars, her content. Where is
Scene
he stepped onto the mic?
Scene stealing with Light
Mike.
and Yo-Yo on the record.
And Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
Scene stealing, Mike.
Yeah.
She's epic on that. Like, he doesn't have a moment. He doesn't have a "I Wanna Be Down" remix verse like La has. He doesn't
I just
have
find it troubling.
UNITY.
I find it troubling that people have a problem with the fact that we would say Queen Latifah's over Joe. Like, how is that slanderous? She did
Not
the work.
slanderous, Mike. Mike, CL Smooth.
I wasn't gonna go there, but you know how I feel about
there. We're going there.
He ain't got no reminiscence over you. He doesn't.
Mike, Heavy D better than Joe.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mere thoughts with the $20 super chat showing love. He says, let's respect Joe's commercial and B connections. Give him number 75 spot. I don't know if we can give anything. Why?
I ain't giving the nigga anything, Mike. Everything out here is earned, Mike. Mike, how about this? We were just talking to Curry. Shout out to Curry. Peace, brother. I'm pulling up on Curry soon. Mike, is Fat Joe better than Black Rob?
In a vacuum, I would give Rob the edge because of the abilities that he has and his storytelling, his taking ability. But again, that would come to the catalog conversation, and it would be
because Life Story is better than anything Joe ever made, and Woe is bigger than anything that Joe ever made. Am I wrong?
I'm with you.
Life Story's better. Life Story's better than any album Joe's ever made. Woe is bigger than any record he ever made. And that's not counting stuff like Jasmine, Can I Live, Espacio with Lil' Kim, I Dare You.
Yeah. Tater Tot to the super chat. Yeah. Tater Tot to the super chat says, Joe mollywopped Ray on Billy Ocean, but y'all biased. Joe mollywopped Ray? I got to go listen to that.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. First of all, Mike, Meth and Ghost can't mollywop Ray on tracks. When have you ever heard somebody say Ghost and Meth stunted on Ray on that track? Only person I've heard really stun on Ray on the track is Nas on Verbal Intercourse.
I
Just
got to
so we're
check this
clear.
out, man. If he killed him like
Prod-
that,
Prodigy on Nighttime Vultures is close, but Ray's story is so cold. It's like well, Prodigy's verse is better, but that's one of Prodigy's best verses. That's like a top 3 or 4 Prodigy verse.
Free with the super chat says, Mike, admit you're mad at Joe for his hip hop comments. He's one of the 4 '90s rappers with hits in the 2010s. We can't argue against that.
When y'all say hits, do y'all mean hit as in singular? Stop saying plural. What hits are you talking about?
I would like to explore that further. If we're talking about hits in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, I'm sure we could find more than 4 based on, you're talking about just songs that got played, it sounds like. And you didn't include Snoop, so that's kind of troubling too. I will say this, yeah, I didn't like Joe's comments about, Puerto Ricans and blacks, what was that? Created hip hop 50/50. I thought that was inaccurate. But if he had the catalog for, that is undisputable, it doesn't matter if I like what he said or not. I'm not going to take credit away from somebody's career. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who, look, KRS has said some things I don't like, but I can't take anything away from KRS. He's done the work. I didn't like what happened with Public Enemy or Chuck D and Bernie Sanders when they kicked Flav out. I didn't like that either, but Public Enemy's Public Enemy and Chuck is Chuck. So no, I mean that doesn't play a part in what I'm saying right now. Like,
I mean, here's the thing too. Like, I don't agree with what Joe said about the whole Puerto Rican and like. How about this, Mike? I think how it's been explained to me, of all the 5 boroughs, the Bronx is probably the most Caribbean influenced, as in the Jamaicans, the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans,
right.
St. Croix, St. John, St. Tom, like people really from there are in the Bronx heavy. And so that probably did heavily influence Joe's hip hop upbringing, and he's looking at it like, well, the Bronx started this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so there could be some connective tissue between the actual literal demographics of how many Panamanians and Trinis and Puerto Ricans and Dominicans are in the Bronx in relationship to their contribution to the hip hop movement. But here's what Fat Joe don't understand when he make that comment. When you hear you're just a nigga, whether you like it or not. And so you can try to separate it and bring up the Afro-Latina community. This nation is 66% white. When they see hip-hop culture, from the outside looking in, all they see is a bunch of niggas.
I will say this, and I think that, from a cultural standpoint, and from what some of the OGs have said, and there's many documentaries and some more coming out as well, hip hop, when we're talking about 2 turntables and a mic, and even if we're talking about Kool Herc, who is Jamaican, he came over here rocking the party playing Black American music. It was James Brown's breaks. It was, breaks that were coming from soul music. He said it himself. He couldn't play the stuff from the islands in the streets like that because the people weren't going to rock to it. And so, I mean, and that's fine and all. And from what I understand, even with the breakers, because we kind of highlight a lot of the breakers that came later on, the early breakers, they were doing it when it wasn't cool to do it. And some of the ones that were from, the Caribbean islands, Puerto Rican or whatever, they were doing their merengue dances and all of that stuff. And they would make fun of the black breakers at that time. That's what the early breakers are saying. But once it got cool, then they joined in and are viewed as pioneers as well because they were participants. It's a difference between creating something and participating in something. If I created something and then somebody comes along and participates, say 5-6 years down the line, yes, you were on early on, but you can't say you created it when those people already made that. You know what I mean?
Mike, Is Future better than Fat Joe?
Of course he is. But again, Future's
And
so
that,
weird, and I've said this on this show. He's hard to quantify because he doesn't really rap. But if we're gonna go with the music and all that, I don't think there's anybody who's gonna tell.
well, hold on. When people are talking about hits being made in a certain time, it's like, well, shit. Who fucking with Future's hits?
Here's
You know,
Christopher
like
Hogan.
that's why it's not good. That's why it's not good to lean on hits
Right.
when it comes to hip hop, Mike. Because when you lean on hits when it comes to hip hop, it's like, oh, if that's the case, Future beating all you niggas is not named Drake.
Christopher Hogan with the super chat says B.G. Currency, Soldier Slim, better Louisiana bias. Now let's explore Currency.
I was about to say, Mike, Soldier Slim. Yes.
Shit, BG too.
Yes.
BG
Yeah,
means something to people, man. Like Firebird Phoenix. Shout out to
BG means a
Firebird.
lot to me, Mike.
Yeah, me too. Firebird Phoenix. Shout out to you, brother. Great music he got going on as well. He says, "What's good, fellas? I fucks with Joe hard, and he's not a GOAT level at all. But Joe got go hard on some rap shit though. Real deal in the streets too. That's what's up."
Yeah. Like, no, like Joe, one of them niggas that like you didn't play with when you was out here. And like I understand that, but it's like that's where you gotta separate the streets from the rap music too, Mike. It's like, is Joe the nigga you fuck with in the streets? Oh hell no. Like these dudes that we naming, if they were to pull up on Joe and his crew in the streets, oh, Joe got the advantage then over like 98% of the niggas that we just named, maybe 99. But we talking about the music side of things, not the street side of things.
Yeah, that doesn't
Everybody
mean
knows Joe
I
not to
gotta
be played
put
with in the
Joe
streets.
over Guru. You know what I mean? I can't do it.
Guru's the author of Mass Appeal, and you know my steez and royalty, like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Dwick. Yeah,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Yeah. He's got moment of truth in his under his belt. He did
Moment
that.
of truth is moment of truth is leaps and bounds better than anything Joe's ever done. No disrespect, like leaps and bounds better. It's a top 20 rap album all time, Mike.
And these are the things that I'm saying when we're talking about not top 50. You know what I mean? Because we got to look at the whole game, and I don't know where we went astray, where we leave out people like Guru and Heavy D in these conversations to propel, I guess, people who are in our face. I don't know.
Like, how about this, Mike? Here's what we have to realize. So remember when I was asking you if Fat Joe made anything like Do or Die by AZ?
Mm-hmm.
So he's not close to Do or Die. Do or Die is not close to the Moment of Truth by Gangstar.
No.
There's levels to this classic shit. Is like, do I think Do or Die is a classic? Yes. Is it Moment of Truth level classic? Fuck no.
Tribal with the super chat says, "Y'all going too far. I don't even like Joe like that. He must have said something crazy because y'all acting like Joe hasn't been a notable name in hip hop. It's wild. Listen, man, no one said he's not notable.
We're not talking about notable. We talking about quotable.
Yeah, exactly. And for all the people who feel like that, give me the best verse. Give me the standout moment. Because again, I didn't agree with a lot of stuff that Busta Rhymes said, but Busta Rhymes has seen stealing moments. Busta Rhymes has moments where are unforgettable in hip hop history. Can't say the same. Let's see. Patricio with the super chat says, "Mike, Coop, is Guru in your top 50? Moment of truth." Yes.
Yes.
He is. He's earned that.
Yeah. He made Moment of Truth.
Jay Short with the super chat says, "Fat Joe doesn't have charisma. It's the black artists that he has on his records that bring out all the charisma and swag. That's why he doesn't have any records by himself." We thug and rolling on dubs while I'm in the club, wildin' like well. You know, I know that hook more than I know any of the verses on there. I don't think I know any of the verses on there. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, "Joe absolutely connects. Maybe it's regional. New Yorkers love him. KRS would not have performed with Joe if he didn't feel like Joe was that guy."
First of all, Fat Joe is on Return of the Boom Bap by KRS-One. KRS-One is from where, Mike?
The Bronx connection,
Where's
right?
Fat Joe from?
The BX.
Okay, so let's stop acting like
Well,
KRS-One and Fat Joe been going back since Joe was a scrap. Like
this is what I
Fat
will
Joe is
say
on
about
Return
Joe.
of the Boom Bap, Mike. That's 1992.
This is what I will say about Joe, and you're right. I think that with the Bronx being the home of hip hop, they hold Joe. Well, Joe is the Bronx. Like he carried the mantle for the Bronx in the '90s during the time period where the Bronx
Correct.
wasn't making as much noise as Brooklyn and Queens, and so
Correct.
there's a lot of appreciation there for that, and that's great. That doesn't make you top 50.
No.
Yeah.
Like, how about this? I mean, the Bronx may have started this rap shit, Mike, but outside of KRS-One and Pun, their legacy of MCing isn't heavy like that.
Not
Just
like
call a
Brooklyn and
spade a
Queens.
spade.
Yeah.
Not like Brooklyn and Queens.
Not at
It's
all.
not even like Long
Or
Island,
Staten
Mike.
Island.
It's not, or Long Island or Staten Island, Mike, or Uptown, Mike.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
It's
Harlem,
not.
yeah. Because if we were to
Yeah.
rank, if we were to be fair, and I ain't trying to shit on the Bronx because I love the Bronx. I got people up there and everything. But if we're being fair, and we're stacking it like Brooklyn,
By borough, they're
Queens,
coming in last
Long
place, Mike.
Island, Staten Island, and even if we sector out Manhattan with Harlem or however we want to do it, I think the Bronx is coming in last.
Mike, ain't no question.
Yeah.
First of all, Wu-Tang Clan's in Staten Island. You already lost that because you don't
That
have
makes
five MCs like their five best MCs. Like the Bronx has not produced five MCs better than the five best members of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Well, let's look at
haven't
Harlem.
produced. No, they got Cam Mason, they got L. That's enough,
Cam,
Mike.
Mace,
And they got Black Rob.
Don't they got Kool Moe Dee too? I think Kool Moe Dee's Harlem.
Yeah.
Hold
on, where Melly Mel from?
I think Melly Mel's from the Bronx.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lulato Moore with the super chat says
they got Mel, KRS, and Pun. They might have Harlem because of that.
That's heavy.
They might be able to take Harlem because of that, but other than Harlem, no. Like the Brooklyn Queens Long Island conversation is not a conversation.
Moore with the super chat says these off-code Negroes must have forgot how disrespectful Fat Joe is, claiming Latinos created hip hop 50-50. Joe is mid, and y'all caping for him. It's sad. But again, that's a whole different thing.
Rakim, Mike, think about this. Long Island has Chuck D, Rakim, Prodigy, and Pasa News.
They got EPMD, and yeah, De La Soul.
They don't even need EPMD, Mike, after the four guys I just named. They got Rakim and Chuck D.
Don't they have Freddie Fox too? Pumpy Knuckles?
They do.
Yeah.
I mean, Prodigy, he claimed QB, but he from Hempstead, Mike. That's Long Island, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. Tell the truth for the super chat says, out of 10, Joe is like a 5 or a 6. There's nothing wrong with that. Overall, he's easily top 20. What? This comment is all over the place. Out of
Where
10.
Y'all getting this shit from?
Where
y'all getting this from?
I'm trying to follow the math here. He said, out of 10, Joe is like a 5 or a 6. There's nothing wrong with that. Overall, he's easily top 20. I think if you're overall top 20 in hip hop, you got to at least be a 9 or a 10. That's just my opinion. I don't think 5's going to cut it.
Mike, to be top 25 out of New York, you got to be a 9 or a 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think 5 or 6 is going to cut it. There is something wrong with that.
It's very problematic.
We got to talk about Biggie before we get out of here. That lasted a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Rigomatic.
We got to talk about the Stoute interview too.
Oh yeah. Rigomatic with the super chat says he got some tracks and legit street credit, but WTF, the West Coast artist alone would jump the shit out of Fat Joe. Let's see. Tell the truth for the super chat says, did Mike just criticize Joe for flowing like Snoop when one, Pun did the same thing and the song was basically a tribute? Did Pun do the same thing? Because Pun came in there I rub your face off the earth and curse your family's children like Amityville and drill the nerves in your cavity, feeling insanity's filling a pavilion in my civilian. And can it be the energy that humanity's feeling? That's what he did. And then he came in there and was like, what? How did that verse start? Gonna shoot that fucking whore dead in the middle of little diddle. Did he know that he riddled the middleman who didn't do diddly? When did Snoop do that? I must have missed that part. On Deep.
Definitely didn't. Deep Cover is still, and with all that being said, Deep Cover is still the superior record.
Of course. Peter Stone with the super chat says, Black Rob, laughing my eyes off, really.
Okay, he don't know Black Rob's catalog. He never heard Rob flow.
I think that's way more. I think that's a lot closer than people may think.
I mean, Rob in a vacuum is better than Joe, but I get what you're saying about the longevity and the hits and stuff. Yeah. But like, yeah, Joe ain't never made no Life Story. There's more bangers. Like, there's more quality tracks on Life Story than on Joe's last 5 albums.
Tater Tots with the super chat says, yes, with Cardi B was a hit in the 2020s. I don't know what song you're talking about, the Yes song, but okay. I mean, listen, guys. If y'all were to make a Fat Joe greatest hits, you're really gonna put Yes featuring Cardi B? Come on, man. The Steve Stoute interview, though.
How did Cardi B get in this conversation, Mike? What the fuck just happened?
They're talking about hits that he has in the 2020s.
This is why I don't like talking about hits.
Yeah. Zuri with the super chat says, random, his single Success from Jealous Ones Envious. Fire.
I love Success.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite record on there.
Joe got some records. I like Safe to Say. Yeah. I like what was that? I know you came to party, so get up on your feet. Gio with the super chat says, guys, didn't Nas, our Lord and Savior MC, rewrite his verse because the Bronx MC Big Pun out-rapped him? The Bronx can put Pun against any New York MC.
Respectfully, as much as I love Pun. No, as much as I love Pun, first of all, if we're talking about repping the Bronx on some lyrical and lyricism shit, that's KRS-One, that's not Pun. Pun made one great album. He made one dud album. He has some stellar guest appearances. His best guest appearance, in my opinion, is his appearance on John Blaze. I've told you, Mike, I do feel like he has a superior verse to Nas on John Blaze by a hair. I give him the style points for the even if I stuttered, I will still shit on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Pun is not the bar of the measure by which lyricism is raised, because we only saw him perform like that on one album.
We liked Pun a lot, and nobody had
recorded most of that album. Yeah.
Nobody in the 90s at that time would have told you that Pun was on Nas's level or Jay's level or DMX's level at that time.
No, Mike, Nature got him on Banned from TV. Like, he's great, but he could be had, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, Nature got the best verse on Banned from TV. That's Kiss, Styles, Pun, and Cam on there. Nature got the best verse.
Now, if you want to talk about the most feared feature nigga around that time, it was Cannabis. Well, that's what it was. I mean, we want to talk about fear, but it ain't about that. You know what I mean? No. It ain't. That don't matter.
And it's not about a hot 16, 24, 32. Can you write a rap song, my nigga?
Mall 7 with the super chat says, the Bronx has Grandmaster Cass and T. La Rock too. T is underrated. I agree. Shout out to Grandmaster Cass. So, like, if we talking about early 80s, the Bronx got it. You know what I mean? Late 70s.
They're the originators. They're supposed to have it.
Mm-hmm. They set the template.
Yes. And how about this? They set the template early on with their MCing, and KRS-One is the peak of that MCing for them. But after KRS-One, it's just a flash of Pun, and that's it.
All right, we got through all the super chats. What were some of the standout moments for you in the Steve Stoute interview? Because I know the media kind of was focusing on the Dame Dash thing, but there was a lot more in there than that.
First of all, Steve Stoute's an interesting guy. I want people to know that it's like he actually interviewed Shannon in the last 20 minutes of the interview. I was like, this nigga done took over the interview, started asking this nigga Shannon questions instead of Shannon interviewing him. But Stoute is cool and he's smooth like that. I love the fact overall, my overall take was that this man has had his hands in a lot of our culture for the last 30, 35 years.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot with it. I mean, for me, and I've always said this, you know what I'm saying? When Shannon was like, I didn't love the explanation of the Nas and Jay shit. Because he really didn't delve into it. And here's what I mean, he didn't delve into it. When Shannon asked him about the 50 Josh shit, oh no, he started breaking shit down
Yeah.
and giving notes. When it came to the Nas and Jay shit, he got tight with his words. And getting tight with your words, you know what I'm about to say, right?
Yeah.
I know you the nigga that bootlegged that I Am album. I know
I
it's you.
forgot you believe that.
I know it's you. I know it's you. I knew it was you when you're so willing to talk about 50 and Ja Rule, and you know that whole situation because you from Queens, but you sitting over here doing business with Jay, doing business with Nas, and you talking about didn't explain anything about the beef, Mike. I was like, yeah, you bootlegged that album like I thought.
That was really weird. That was really weird.
It was weird. It was weird, Mike. It was the only weird part of the interview. He was an open book until it was time to talk about Nas and Jay, and it's like, nigga, that's what we came for.
Well, he also didn't really delve into how he found Nas because he said, you know, he got Trackmasters, right? And he said, you know, Nas was looking to be more than local, right? Because Illmatic was a local success. He wanted to be more than that. He said the problem was people couldn't get to Nas to find him. And all he said was, I found him. Like, you would think that if that story, there has to be a story behind that story. Because if you're saying that this person is impossible to get to, and I was able to get to him, well, let's tell me how. You know what I mean? Like, that's the story.
Okay, Mike, so here's what I tell you. This is from somebody that actually has been to Queensbridge now. Happy to say that. Mike, you been to the bridge before?
I actually haven't.
Mike, if he actually had the nerve to do what Jungle say, which is to hop out his whip and walk through the bridge and walk through where he was walking, and I've walked through there, so I know what it like looks like in real time. That's the type of move that's gonna get Nas on the phone because Mike, and I know it's not popping like it used to be back then, Mike. I've been everywhere, Mike. It's one of the few places I've been to in broad daylight where I can feel the heat.
Well, the projects
You
in
know
New
what I'm
York
saying?
are different, period. But yeah, in Queensbridge is the largest projects, I
Like,
think, in
no,
the
Mike, it
world.
was different walking through there.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
I
can imagine.
wasn't, I wasn't, I wasn't comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And so, if he was willing to make himself uncomfortable about finding Nas, and this ain't the first time, Mike. Like Nas prior to I'd say the Def Jam signing was a known like industry recluse. Like you couldn't find him.
Right.
It was on Mike on some rap shit. He was kind of like Prince. It was like, well, we can't find the nigga. We're not allowed to look directly at him. We really don't know where this nigga is. You
Well,
know
you
what
know
I'm
where I
saying?
think the
Especially,
opening was, and I will give Steve Stoute credit for this. I think he saw the opening after that '95 Source Awards, and everybody says the same thing that attended that '95 Source Awards. Source gave this man 5 mics for Illmatic, and he didn't walk away with any award at that
yeah.
award ceremony. And I think Steve Stoute saw an opening to say, you know what? It's great that you're getting this credibility here, and this album is awesome, and it's a classic. But if you
Yeah.
want to get all the things, all the success that you deserve and that you've earned with their superior skills, I can help you with that part. And I think
Well,
getting
here's
Trackmasters and the fact that Trackmasters, Tone from Trackmasters did Juicy, right? I think that was a playing card. Like, look, you don't
Mike.
have to get Puffy. I can be that.
Mike, you actually took the words right out of my mouth. It wasn't until I heard him be vague and talk this way that I realized, you know who the tipping point in all of this is?
Biggie.
It's the
Puff.
track masters. Like, no, it's
Yeah.
track masters because the main thing that stuck out in the interview to me was when Stoute was talking about how Tone and Poke and the Trackmasters were actually part of Bad Boy's Hitmen.
Yep.
Now, we already know the stories from Nas and from Puff that Puff was trying to sign Nas too. And so, look at it like this. Nas and Big were lined up to both be signed to Bad Boy. Nas chose to took the road less traveled. Like, I'm going to go fuck with these Wu-Tang niggas, these Mobb Deep niggas,
Right.
this Gangstar nigga, this Tribe Called Quest, like this core quintessential New York hip hop. Big and Puff, mostly Puff, was like, nah, I'm on some new shit. And watching, and listen to what I'm saying, watching them make the inferior album but have the superior success, Mike.
Yep,
they made the inferior album. Don't tell me, Mike, do not tell me that Ready to Die is better than Illmatic. That is a lie. But the superior success, if that nigga was hiding somewhere when Stoute went to look for him and he was like, yeah, I want to produce your album. I want to manage you. I'm going to get Tone and Poke, who I'm pretty certain he was already familiar with. Like, people have to understand, these dudes known each other a long time. Like, Nas and Jay knew each other before the deals. Yeah. Tone and Poke knew these niggas before the deal. All these guys knew each other before these deals.
You get what I'm saying? Steve Stoute said that too. He was like, man, those guys knew each other before I knew him. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's right. Them dudes met when Nas was like 15 and Jay was like 18.
Yeah.
They've been known each other. And so the trump card and all of that really was the fact that it's like, well, Nas went over here and doing this I for an I verse, this Cool G Rap Fast Life verse, this verbal intercourse verse, making Illmatic with Preem and Pete Rock, and Tone and Poke was like, nigga, we just made Juicy. We just made One More Chance. Like,
and then they come in and make If I Ruled the World. Like, that's their first record that they make with them, and it's a hit. And so what Steve Stoute came in there to do, and me as a Nas purist and fan and all that, I always felt that Steve Stoute and Trackmasters and them kind of detoured the Nas that I wanted to hear. But what he came in there to do, he successfully did it. You know what I'm saying?
How about this, Mike? Nas doesn't have the longevity in his career that he has without It Was Written.
Without Steve Stoute's input.
So without Steve Stoute's input and direction, Mike.
And Trackmaster, I'm not going to leave them out either.
We can't leave them out because also too, Mike, this goes back to everything that I felt about It Was Written. It's like, well, where really the bad beats at, Mike? Because outside of Black Girl Lost, the beats ain't bad, Mike.
I was going to say, that whole narrative that Nas is a bad beat picker, I think is aimed at It Was Written and Trackmasters.
Mike, didn't they do The Message?
They did Shootouts.
Mike, they did Suspect. No, LES did Suspect.
Yeah.
What else they do? Affirmative Action?
Yeah. If I Ruled the World's not a bad beat. Street Dreams is not. What are we talking about?
If I Ruled the World's a dope beat, Mike.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the song, but it's a dope beat.
No. Now, is it the setup of Live Nigga Rap by Havoc? No, it is not. Told you, best beats on there, Havoc did.
But again, Coop,
we kept the shit intact.
If they sent the setup in Live Nigga Rap to radio to sell this album, the album wouldn't have sold. So
would have done Illmatic number.
Yeah, the mission was accomplished. Jay Short with the super chat says, while we are on overrated New York hip hop, can we stop talking about Banned from TV, the most cookie cutter, overhyped posse cut of all time? Speak your truth, Jay Short. Speak your truth. I disagree, but hey. Mall 7 with the super chat says, Stoute got tight with his words because when he and Nas fell out, he took Jay's side in the beef.
Oh, see, but listen to this. And this is what I mean. Well, he's still taking sides because he calls Jay-Z the most influential rapper of the generation, but he calls Nas the best writer.
Mm-hmm.
So he's distinguishing. That's the businessman in him. He's essentially telling you, he's like, still playing both sides.
He's been playing both sides the whole time.
He's been playing
even in 2024. Rigamatic with the super,
He's a businessman.
Rigomatic with the super chat says, love and light to the viewers, but likes are free. Please support Mike and Coop and A2HH brand with a simple like. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, man. Hit the likes. You know what I'm saying? We
It
need.
costs you nothing to click like and subscribe to the tribe. It costs
Yeah.
you nothing.
Jay Short with the super chat says, no disrespect to Steve Stoute, but he sounded more like a company man than a made man in the interview. Couldn't help but draw a what he says, dichotomy between him and Dame Dash. Steve's a lockstep dude. Dame isn't. Well, I think they have different philosophies. I will say this. People who have such different philosophies might not need to be speaking on each other in that way. Like I get that Steve doesn't obviously jive with the way that Dame does business, but that's the way Dame does it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's not out. Well, I will say this. I'm not gonna.
That ain't what I heard.
I love Dame.
That ain't what I heard.
But
that ain't what I heard.
Dame has said this about Steve. He said that Steve Stoute's game is he tells black people that he's cooler with white people than he is, and he tells white people that he's cooler with black people than he is. And really, that's not really a diss. That's kind of an observation, and anybody from afar can kind of see some of those things. Even with the rollout of tanning of America, he's kind of that middle guy where he'll go to the white corporate structure and say, "Look, I could get these guys. I can get these guys over here," and then he'll go to the guys in the hood and be like, "Look, I can get you the corporate structure."
So here's the thing. So my biggest problem with the interview is that he told Shannon that we need to be more mindful about who we give our craft and our art to. And I'm like, you one of the main niggas that put a for sale sign in front of all of it to make the money and to get to where you got.
Yeah.
So it did come off as hypocritical because here's the thing. Steve Stoute has been selling off pieces of this culture for his benefit for a long time. And kudos to him for doing that. He's done a great job. But for you to sit back and try to tell the next generation or the people watching that they need to be mindful when you gave no fucks, my G.
Yeah. But that's what people do when they get older. They'll knock the new generation for doing the same thing that they did.
Like let's keep it real. It's like he's a great businessman. He's a marketing genius. You are not a keeper of the flame of this culture, though. You never have been. Like he's not a keeper of the flame. You get what I'm saying? Like he's never been that, and he's never going to be that. He likes to play both sides too much to ever be that. And so the one problem that I did have the interview, it's like, oh, well, you don't have the right to say that. You've sold off every piece of this culture that you thought that you could sell off to make yourself some money, to put yourself in a financial position. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, you walking around with like a $25,000 Louis Vuitton coat through Queens trying to talk about preserving the culture. It's like, well, that ain't how you got that $25,000 Louis Vuitton coat, is by preserving the culture. It's not.
Where the black-owned brands at? DJ Tim Space King with the super chat says, Schoolboy Q album of the year. Boom. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Major versus Indie is my favorite part of the interview. Well, see, that's the thing, too. He's doing the indie thing when it's something in it for him to do the indie thing. There's always been... somebody, and we talk about this guy all the time. AZ's been independent for a very long time. You think he ever got, support from Steve Stoute for going that route?
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, since there's a way to capitalize on the independent buzz or the independent artist, now you got, United Masters.
So get inside the man's mind a little bit and watch his verbal and his nonverbal communication. Even when he's talking about Nas, he's like, Nas is a great businessman. Notice that he mentions all the venture capital stuff and all the investment stuff before he mentions mass appeal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh yeah, he got mass appeal. Like he talks about mass appeal like mass appeal is a small thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He talks about, but you see how he gets in. Yeah, he's got his venture capital firm. He's got Ring. He's got Coinbase. Oh yeah, he got mass appeal too. It's like kind of like has his like like has a side option, still got this rap shit going on over here. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Because that's how he looks at it as a businessman. There is some of it. How about this? He's done a good job about not whitewashing himself, but he's got some whitewash in him, Mike.
Oh
And I'm just
no.
saying that in honest. I'm just saying that as an
Tanning
honesty.
of America is that. I mean, it's what it is. Like, what else can you take from Tanning of America? Did you see any of those series? It was tough to watch.
Hell no. Like, why would I watch some shit like that?
Yeah, it was tough to watch. Like, I get it. Like you said, he's a businessman and he's a marketing guy, and that I can appreciate. But you run a slippery slope when you're marketing culture, because there's no way to be a supreme marketer and not exploit culture. A marketer in the culture and not exploit it. You know what I mean? It's very difficult.
It is. Like when you choose look, Mike, his job is marketing and advertisement.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
That's what he's always
how
been.
is McDonald's going to hire you on to be a marketer for the black audience, or let's just say hip hop culture, and you do justice to them, the people that are paying you, and you still do justice to the culture? That's impossible. They want you to exploit the culture. That's what they're paying you to do, and you're going to
Yeah,
do
they're
some of that, or you're not going
they're
to get the
paying you to make
job.
they're paying you to make capital gains, Mike.
Yeah, and
And
if you
capital
don't do
gains
that,
involve
you're not going to get the
exploitation.
job.
Yeah, Mike, exploitation comes with capital gains. That's why it's like I'm not knocking his hustle. I just peep some of his moves out. You know what I'm saying? And so some of the stuff is like, oh, it's cool to talk about Ja Rule and 50. How about this? Here's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
like
Is
that he
it's like,
talked about Ja Rule in 50. I understood what he was saying, and he's right. As elder statesmen, they don't need to be beefing. But he still went into the details that were unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
it's
right. But
almost
when it
like
comes to
egging it on still.
but because no, but listen to what I'm saying. Because of Jay and Nas have so many money ventures that are still at the forefront of this culture and the forefront of black business, he won't speak on those things. It's not that he wouldn't speak on it. Like I realized he didn't want to speak on it because really what he's saying is that well, 50's in TV and Ja Rule's really not doing anything. But these niggas Nas and Jay is still everywhere. So I'm not gonna say anything because it might fuck up some of my next deal. Like think about this, Mike. He bought up Jim Dolan from the New York Knicks and tried to literally like peep how he said it. He said it real soft, real slick. Yeah, he's misunderstood. It's like no, he's not. He's a piece of shit as a human being and as an owner. He's not misunderstood at all. You're calling him misunderstood because you get money with him and you have
Yeah,
to say that.
you don't want to
That's what I
ruin
mean. Where it's like it's not a total whitewash, but there's some whitewashing going on. That's what I'm talking about. It's like no, everybody knows James Dolan is a piece of shit as a human being and as an owner, Mike. Like
it.
everybody knows, it's not a secret. Like he sexually harassed multiple women as the owner of that team.
Allegedly.
Yeah, Mike. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, he does business with them, and he doesn't want to get on the wrong side of that.
Yeah, no. He got a nice thing going with the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? He's got like Mike. He brought up more white people than I've ever heard in a Shannon Sharp interview since Shannon's been interviewing people the last 3 years.
And this is just on camera stuff, so ain't no telling what behind the scenes sounds like.
Like the Ben Horowitz relationship that Nas has, like when he started dropping jewels on that and like all that stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, you be no, like I see him. I'm not knocking his hustle either, Mike, but it's like, no, you be kicking it with the white folks a lot.
Yeah. Um, you want to go on to the Biggie thing, or I mean, because the music. Look, Jae Skeese dropped a dope project. I haven't gotten into the ransom yet. Jae Skeese, man, and shout out to him, man. He came on the show last year after dropping About Us Uncertainties, man. Like the level of consistency that he's bringing, and the craftsmanship and how much he cares about putting together albums, it's not going unnoticed for sure. I want to give this album a few more spins, but I fuck with Skeese, man. I think we talk about Griselda or a lot of people talk about Griselda and the way they put albums together and it being very similar to one another. Jae Skeese puts albums together very, very well in a very different way than the rest of his contemporaries. And I think that's one of his gifts. He's dope on the mic too, But his beat selection, song structure, and the way he puts together albums, I think is very impressive and goes understated.
I want to listen some more, Mike. The album is good. That's the first thing I want to say. It's like when I heard it, I heard a good project. I've only heard it like fully like one time through. You know how I am about my 3 listens, Mike. I need my 3 listens.
Right.
So I definitely need to get 2 more listens in. I find him to be settled in his level as an MC. The level that he's operating on is high. Like he's somebody that I'm comfortable putting on a track next to a Benny, a Conway, a Rome Streets, a Stove God, and I'm not worried about what I'm going to get lyrically, delivery, punchline, thought wise for him. So I do consider him to be in the upper echelon, is what I would say. But what also comes with being in the upper echelon is also the expectations to push the boundary some. And because of the style that he makes, I don't feel creatively he was in his bag like I would have liked for this project, although I like this project. Like his spit game on this project is solid, but I don't feel like he dug deep on this project the way he did on Abolished Uncertainties.
I agree with that. I think that this project it sounded like it was something for the streets, you know what I mean? And I think that's why, even in relation to the Schoolboy Q album, I wouldn't put it above that. But I do feel like there's something to the fact that he did all of those things on Abolished Uncertainties and it didn't get the props that he should have gotten for it. And those type of things will make an artist change things up as opposed to doubling down.
Yes, it's not. How about this? It's not better when you make a record like Burner Phone, Mike. The expectation for what you bring to the table as an MC is different. You feel what I'm saying?
No, for real.
And so I'm rating him based on the expectation of what I know he's capable of. And so, he's talked to us. He thinks Nas is his GOAT. And this is what I mean about pushing the boundary. So on It Was Written, speaking of Steve Stoute, there's this record that I think everybody knows now. It's called I Gave You Power, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
For me, as far as 3 verses and a hook goes, Mike, I think it's the greatest Mike performance of all time still. If I'm picking a song with 3 verses and a hook, that's the greatest Mike performance of all time as I Gave You Power. There are not 3 verses lyrically not with the hook. And Preem's on the beat, Mike. So
people are saying it's better than Abolished Uncertainties. Now that I don't agree with right now, but I'm gonna go back and listen more.
As a whole, it might be. Whoever said Risk and Reward was fire, they're right. That record, Risk and Reward, is the shit. But here's what I'm saying about pushing the boundary. Nas made I Gave You Power, but then he came and still made Rewind years later.
Yeah.
He still made Shoot 'Em Up on Nostradamus, which is one of the better songs on Nostradamus. It's like he was still pushing himself. He's like, oh, I can do a Christmas sing-songy gangsta ass story song. Oh, I can tell a story backwards. When you start operating on a certain level, I start expecting certain things from you. And so about how I feel about Abolished Uncertainties, about how I feel about Burner Phone, although I find this project to be more consistent than Abolished Uncertainties after one listen, I feel like it's more consistent end to end. And I like the fact that Love and Conway aren't on this album because he's showing that he's capable of holding it down on his own. I don't feel creatively this album is where that album was. And I think one of his strengths is his creativity, not just his lyricism. Like his bar work is stellar, but his creativity, Mike, and his content is one of those things that I'm really looking for from him. And I can hear that he's inspired by Nas. And so, although I enjoy the project, I want to encourage him to stay in his creative bag the way Nas has. The way Nas is in year number 30 making a record like Beef and WTF SMH. You feel what I'm saying?
Because he got it in him.
Because he's got it in him, but also, too, when you're creatively inclined, the way that he is, like, not everybody's creatively inclined like that, Mike, on the mic. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But because he is creatively inclined, I'm going to push for him to keep pushing himself to the greatest heights because I know we both share the same GOAT, which is Nas. And so I would like him to take a look at Nas's career and the envelopes that he's pushed creatively and start pushing those envelopes
Yeah.
because he's proven himself to be a good song maker, to great song maker. He's proven himself to be a top-notch MC. So a couple things he could work on is pushing his creative boundaries because I didn't hear the creative boundaries pushed on this album the way I did on Abolished Uncertainties, and I think his hook game needs to improve, Mike. But I'm saying these things constructively because I know that he's more than fucking capable of it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not.
He has
So
a
I'm not
high
saying
ceiling.
that's what I'm saying, Mike.
I
I'm
mean,
not saying it. I'm not saying it like it's done for him. I'm saying it like, oh no, I know you can dig deeper, so dig deeper.
because a lot of people talk about JID in this era as they should, because JID's nice as hell. I think Skeese is a guy that has a very, very high ceiling. And I don't think that, I think what we're hearing from him right now is just the tip of the iceberg.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
So
a
it's
creative
like
guy.
sometimes,
He comes from the fashion world. He sees things different. I mean, we talk to him, you know what I mean? Like, creatively, he sees things different. And like you said, he's already nice on top of that. So he can dig even.
yeah, he's nice, Mike. Like we
Yeah.
know, Mike. I literally said 2 years ago, it's like his back and forth with Conway is very Jay-Z and Beanie Siegel like.
Yeah.
So I think
Conway, you got a
highly
good
of
one
him.
over there, man. Him and Love.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that like, no, fam. Like I know that you're really good. I want you to be great. One of the things that I think is going to make him great is creatively and conceptually. I think he can go places the average MC can't go from New York in this era, and I want him to go there.
Mm. Well, before
Like,
we get
Mike,
out of
Mike,
here, oh,
Mike,
go
how
ahead.
about this? Mike, he can make 4 or 5 other projects where he's spitting like this, and where we're going to enjoy it and we're going to like it because he's that good, and the songs are that good. I'm talking about that next level that he's capable of, where it's like, yo, he made me think with that. He made me feel with that. He made a point with that. He can dig like that, Mike. He
Yeah.
can make. He can make. He can't make Moment of Truth or It Was Written. I don't think. But he can make stuff in the vein of that, Mike. You feel what I'm saying? Like you remember how Guru's talking on Royalty?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Skeese can talk like that and it can work.
Listen, I'm not gonna say what he can't make because I think that he has a very high ceiling. Like I said, not to repeat myself.
No, I
Um,
said It Was Written in Moment of Truth. I don't think he
so
has that in him. But if he does, Mike, oh my God. If he
Leroy
does,
Green
we're gonna be talking about
chat.
one of the better MCs that we've seen.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, "Coop, what does mic performance even mean? How is I gave you power any different than taking in blood, rapping wise? Because it's a metaphor. Because it's a metaphor? Question mark.
So lyrically speaking, Taking in Blood for me and I Gave You Power are probably Nas's best mic performances, lyrically speaking. But when I mean mic performance, this is why I bring up Big Daddy Kane's Ain't No Half Stepping Mike. It's like, oh no, go show me 4 verses like that on a song that big, that important, and that classic. So when I'm talking mic performance, I'm talking about what are the lyrics like? What is the concept like? What is the song structure like? What is the hook like? How is he piecing it together to tell a cohesive story? And the fact that he's telling a cohesive story about an inanimate object, Mike.
It's
He's
pretty
telling a
impressive.
Mike, he on the second verse, he starts off by comparing the gun to a circumcision on his dick. Have you ever heard anything in rap like that before? So he's literally doing and saying stuff on the mic that hasn't been said or done before or since. Always I'm in some shit. My abdomen is the click. The barrel's my dick. Uncircumcised, pull my skin back and cock me. I bust off when niggas unlock me. Results of what happened when niggas shot me. Stunningly, I see niggas running from me in fear. Like, no, that's different, Mike, when you
Yeah.
talking that way.
Yeah.
It's different. So shame on Leroy for not understanding that the talk on Taking in Blood and I Gave You Power is different, Mike. And I say this Mike, when I wake up on my birthday every year, first song I play is Taken in Blood.
Mm. Yeah, you
It's
said
literally the first song I play on my birthday every year. I literally, Mike, now, because I'm older, I wake up and before I do anything, I go hop in my car and cut Take It in Blood on and I ride around and play it. Like, even if I just come back to the crib, I ride around and I play it and then I come back. It's the first song that I play. Take It in Blood might be his lyrical manifesto, but the songwriter, the artist, the creativity, the
yeah.
lyricist, the putting it all together in a song, Mike, it's I Gave You Power. And you don't have a song with a hook that's fucking with it because, quite frankly, Rakim's best songs don't have hooks. That's
I'm
why I
with
tell
that.
you it's
In the end, hook included.
in the end, Mike. How you like
Yeah.
me now? I go blow. It's the shit that moves crowds, making every ghetto foul. I might have took your first child, scarred your life, crippled your style. I
I
gave
gave
you
you
power. I made you buck wild.
But I got to
Yeah,
get up out
it's
of
the
here.
best Mike
1 second,
performance ever.
Coop. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, we gotta go. We
Yeah,
gotta
we
go.
got to go in a second. But I mean, our whole show thing was to give props to Biggie, man. March 9th just passed a few days ago. And it's been 27 years since Biggie has been gone. And there was a question on According to Hip Hop. It was like, even with this man being gone 27 years, is there how many people could actually beat him in a versus in 2024 with the catalogs that they have amassed?
Beat him?
And yeah, and there were a lot of people saying that Biggie wouldn't fare as great as what we think in a versus because he only had 2 albums, and I think people are underestimating, you know, how the level that the short
I,
period of time that he was crafting and the music that he made. I don't think that there is. I don't think there's 6 people that could beat him. There were some young people saying that Kendrick Lamar could beat Biggie in a verse.
I want to say this respectfully to the people who said those things to you. And I'm saying this as nice as I can. You don't know shit. You
Dre
don't know a
said,
motherfucking thing. You don't know a motherfucking thing. Mike, Kendrick Lamar would be lucky if he took 5 songs off of Big in a verses.
yeah,
Lucky. J. Cole ain't taking songs off Big in a verses. Drake not taking no songs off of Big. Mike went like to this day, Mike, as soon as you said it, it's like the only person I know that can fade him is Tupac, Mike. Like even to this
yeah.
day. To this day, Mike, the only person that I know where I'm like, oh no, the songs, the level, the content, the quality, the ability would be enough to beat his best 20 of whatever you would throw. Tupac is the only viable answer at this point, Mike.
I
I'm
think
not
Snoop
comfortable
could
telling
do
you.
it. Maybe I think Snoop could do it. It would take some work. Snoop could do it.
How about this? Snoop
I
would
don't
have
know
to
if
do
Jay
it.
could do it.
Mike, how about this?
I don't know
Are
if
you
Nas
saying
could do
he
it.
could do it? I don't think Jay or Nas could do it still because I don't know if
Right?
their 20 best records. Like this is what I mean about I Gave You Power and Take It in Blood. Oh, those are clearly 2 of Nas's 10 best records. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't play no Take It in Blood and I Gave You Power against Biggie.
I mean,
That
Biggie
shit's
could
not
even
gonna
hit you
play
with.
well.
He could hit you with some kick in the door type stuff, and he doesn't even have to play a kick in the door. That's how strong his catalog is.
I would play Kick in the Door.
I mean, he doesn't have to. That's what I'm saying. Like he could go, "Who shot you?"
That's what I mean. So here's what I'm saying. Do I think I Gave You Power is a better record than Who Shot You? I do. Do I think I Gave You Power is beating Who Shot You in a versus?
No.
No, I
Dre
do
7
not.
with Super Chat says, "I gave you power" is a perfect song, Leroy. I mean, I don't think KRS-One could beat Biggie in a verse.
He can't, Mike. He don't got the records.
I don't
You gotta
think
have the
that
records, Mike.
I
You
don't think
gotta have it.
LL Cool J could, and that's high praise, man. And that's because, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think LL
Like
could.
this is what I mean. This is what I mean, Mike. What you gonna do when how you living, Biggie Smalls? I'm surrounded by criminals, heavy rollers, even the shiesty individuals, smoking skunk and mad fillies, beating down Billy badasses, cracks of stacks and masses. The robbery's a class, but I passed it. Things get drastic. I'm burying you bastards. Big Papa never softened then. Take you to the church, rob the preacher for the offering, leave a fool coughing up blood in his pockets like rabbit ears. No, you know, Mike, I don't even like that's the players anthem verse, Mike.
And it might
You can just
not.
start pulling verses out of like you can
That's
start
not
pulling
even
verses
get
out of a
money.
hat.
That's not even get money.
Mike, that's not the Get Money remix, Mike.
You want to
Yo,
sit
how many
more
times
on
have
my
we spit
living
this
room floor?
verse?
Play Nintendo with Season E, yo. Pick up my phone, say, Papa not home. Sex all night, man, hand in the moan. Spin my D, smoke all my weed, tattoo on TT, singing B.I.G. Now check it. You want to be my main squeeze, baby? Now come on, man. Now I think he
Mike,
beats LL, and that's LL has one of the most. Want to talk about commercially viable catalogs that's suited for a versus? There's not
he's
many
not beat
people who can even beat an LL, and I think Big would do that.
Mike, B.I.G., P.O.P.P.A., no info for the DEA, federal agents, mad because I'm flagrant, tap myself in the phone in the basement. My team supremes, my triple beam team supreme. No, Mike. Because here's the problem. If you want to play some street shit, Mike, he gets to play What's Beef. He gets to play I Got a Story to Tell, Niggas Bleed, 10 Crack Commandments, Long Kiss Goodnight, Everyday Struggle, Warning,
You
Give
don't
Me the
want that.
Loot. It's like you want to play street shit against Big. You want to play hit records against Big. And so you know the only one that has a trump card against them is Pac, because Pac got the street records and
Yeah,
Pac got the hits and Pac got the content that's
yeah.
superior to
I
Big.
think that's what gets him against Pac is the content. I mean,
Right.
and if you want to go feature game, nigga could come in there like niggas is mad. I get more butt than ashtrays. Fuck a fair one. I get mine the fast way. Ski mask way. Nigga ransom notes. Far from handsome, but damn a nigga toe. You don't want that flavor in your ear beat to drop with this nigga rapping this shit. I
That's
mean,
what
I'm
I'm
just saying.
saying, Mike. You're in trouble, Mike.
And
You
it's
don't want the
crazy to
only you
think
win.
he was active for 4 years, pretty much 3, 4 years, and has been gone for 27 years, and nobody
Mike.
can really touch his
I
catalog.
see, Mike. I see people in their 20s that when Only You comes on, they know the words Jesus, the Notorious, just please us with your lyrical thesis. Like they know these words, Mike.
Somebody said
That's
I'm
not counting
tripping.
the Juicy.
Somebody
It's
said I'm
not counting the
tripping.
One
They
More
said
Chance remix.
LL. They said LL could get him. I would challenge anybody to that one.
No,
Let's do
Mike.
it.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it, Mike. Because Mike, after about 12 records, after about 12, 13 records, Mike, Big gonna take the rest of them records off L. Like it might be an even fight for about 12, 13 records, and then you're gonna get to about record 14, 15, 16, and Big gonna start running, Mike. Like what, Mike? You gonna play Mama Said Knock You Out against Who Shot You? It's not gonna work.
That's
It's
not
not
gonna.
gonna work. It's not gonna
I
work.
mean, honestly, man, even if he went like lounging or something, like he got one more chance remix, man. Like
Mike, you can play the Big Papa remix and beat lounging.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I think Cube getting Biggie in a versus. He said, I got Biggie. I get Biggie wins the swag and the style argument, and he's a great lyricist. But Ice Cube's impact and songs are just too great. Okay, if Cube is able to use his catalog and NWA's catalog, which he should be able to use, or at least the first album that
It's
he's
not happening,
on,
Mike.
I
It's
could
not happening.
see it being competitive. But I think I think people have
I don't,
forgotten.
Mike.
I think people have forgotten how crazy Biggie's catalog is, even in that
Mike,
short period of time. Cool.
Mike,
We got to
Jay
do
Short.
something to remind people.
Jay Short, you from Cali, my nigga. Other niggas ain't playing Ice Cube shit like y'all is.
I
Them
think
records that you think,
the only
no,
person I would fear
no.
on the other side of it, if I had Biggie's catalog in the verses, the only person I would fear is Pac and Snoop. I can handle everything else, I think.
I mean, how about this? I don't think because him and Jay's talking so similar. Jay can't beat Big with records he would be able to beat other people with.
Right.
I think Nas's records creatively speaking and streetwise match up well with Biggie's records, but then it becomes about, well, nigga, if I rule the world and street dreams and hate me now, well, that's not enough for Juicy, Big Papa, and One More Chance.
It's not.
You feel me?
It's not.
And so for me, it's like Pac is just, and that's where they're forever going to be linked. For me, it's like Pac's the only one that can really take his heavy hitters off the board. It's like, oh, you got Big Papa, I got to keep your head up. I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? Like Pac is the really only one that can take his epic records off his hands, and you be like, yeah, that's a better record.
And he has records like Dear Mama that are notable. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people have records that are, have that level of sentiment in them, but they're not as big as that. Like he could play Dear Mama against anything.
Yeah. No. It's beating everything Biggie got. Like, here's what I'm saying though, Mike. It's like when Big goes into like, let's say if you were to go to Dark Side with Big and go to like Suicidal Thoughts or Everyday Struggle or My Downfall, it's like, nah, Pac can play Pain and Pour Out a Little Liquor and Brenda's Got a Baby. And it's like, no, you're not beating that. Like Suicidal Thoughts isn't better than Pain.
Yeah.
I don't think Everyday Struggle is better than Pour Out a Little Liquor. You know what I'm saying?
It's not. I think they're both great records. They're both 10s to me.
And then Pac got shit like Ambitions as a Rider. I Ain't Mad at You.
I Get Around.
How Do You Want It? Yeah. California Love. Dear Mama. So Many Tears. Like, what does Biggie have for So Many Tears where you're like, I'm going to play So Many Tears and you're going to tell me Big got a record better than that? Like, you think Warning's better than So Many Tears?
There's a reason why I have been ducking the the station head. Because
you should keep ducking, Mike. You should keep ducking. Yeah. I've told you, like, every time you duck the Tupac Biggie thing and I was taking Tupac, I was like, no. I was like, you should run.
Does somebody want to take the Jay and Biggie thing? Nobody wants to take that. Huh?
I'm not taking Jay. I'm not doing that. I told you, Mike. I'm not joking when I say this. If you were to take, you can pick any 20J records that you want, Mike. Listen to what I'm saying. He's only going to win 6 or 7 records, and that's.
Well, maybe I need to take Jay then. Maybe I need to take Jay's catalog against your Biggie.
You want to do that, Mike?
I think so.
I'm going to slaughter you, Mike.
I think so. I want to do that. I
wouldn't do that if I was you. It's not going. It's going
because we got to put somebody against Biggie. We got.
Oh, if you want to put Big against Big, you can. I'm telling you, Mike, that shit not going to work, Mike.
Because I want to prove this point, and I want to win. Don't think I'm gonna throw it because Jay has a great catalog to pull from. I think it'll be very interesting. We gotta. I got to do my homework on this. I kind of know what's on the other side, but I got to know which ones are going to be more effective against Big. But people got to understand how incredible this man's catalog was in, for the 3-4 years that he was active. It's crazy.
Well, Mike, let me ask you something. Let's say you play PSA, Mike. I can just play Big's verse from All About the Benjamins. I already got you. Doesn't matter.
Think so?
Doesn't matter. Yeah. I do think so. You play You Don't Know, I'm playing Who Shot You, Mike. If you play You Don't Know, I'm playing Who Shot You.
I think You Don't Know is better than Who Shot You. I don't know.
It's not. That's crazy talk.
It might not be.
It's crazy talk. You can do it if you want to, Mike. I wouldn't advise it.
I want to do that. Mall 7 with the super chat says, imagine Biggie coming out to victory in a versus against these cats to set the tone. Game over. You're right. You're giving away game. That's the one to start the shit off with.
I got the flavor in your remix, Mike. I got You Can't Stop the Rain. I got Warning. I got Machine Gun Funk. Give Me the Loot. I got the what? Everyday Struggle.
We're gonna do Papa. It. Book it. We're gonna do it.
Remix.
We're gonna do it.
Mike, I got Kick in the Door. I got 10 Crack Commandments. I got Notorious Thugs. You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. My Downfall. Long Kiss Goodnight. More Money, More Problems.
Got a lot of records in my arsenal too, man.
Hypnotize if you want to. Mike, how about this? Like, you always tell me Jay's biggest record is I Just Want to Love You. Mike, I can just play Juicy and beat that. Like,
I don't even know if I'm
a
gonna play
problem.
that record
It's
against
not
Big
even a problem. I wouldn't do that if I was
because
you.
it got the Biggie line in it, man. Like
You
Jay
don't play
Short with the
Streets is
super
Watching,
chat.
Mike? You play Streets is Watching, imaginary player, Mike. I'm gonna take him off the board with some hardcore shit.
Jay Short with the super chat says, "That's pure East Coast bias. No Vaseline beats I Shot Ya. Today was a good day beats Juicy. F the police takes Give Me the Loot." Okay. Leroy Green with the super chat says, "So Coop, 30 years later, you haven't heard no music better than Biggie and Pac."
Fuck no. I've been saying that for 30 years. No, I haven't. Have you? Name the artist, name the records, name the album. Have
Rigomatic
you?
says Biggie versus Kendrick. I'm not taking that. T Nitty with the super chat says 20 songs, I say 50 got a chance versus Big.
That's fascinating.
I
I think
disagree,
that's
but
fascinating.
yeah.
I think it's fascinating because I feel like he could take some records off Big. Like, I think In the Club is better than Big Papa.
Okay. I personally like Big Papa more, but I could see in a vacuum if we polled it, I'm sure In the Club will win that.
So here's one of those things. How about this, Mike? What's the better record to you? Kicking the Door or Streets is Watching?
To me, Streets is Watching.
Okay.
To me, Streets is Watching. Not by a lot.
Okay.
It's just the
Okay.
beat and the mood and the way this nigga's rap. They're both rapping crazy.
So here's how I
Mike
feel about
performance.
that. Streets is Watching is a top 5 J record. Kicking the Door is not a top 5 Big record, and that's the difference. Those songs are comparable.
Yeah, I can
You feel what I'm saying? That's my thing with Big and Jay. It's like, oh no, that's like record number 12 or 13 in Big's catalog. That's like record number 4 or 5 in Jay's catalog.
Look, he got the big records. Biggie got the bigger records, in my opinion. So I'm gonna have to. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get up out of here, man. Great show. I think we covered a lot. I gotta go find some dinner and get some sleep and all that shit. Y'all hit like and subscribe.
Think about Snoop. Would you prefer to take Snoop over Big? I feel like you have a better shot with Snoop than you do Jay.
Huh.
You should
Let me think on
it.
that. Let me think on
You should
that.
think about it.
I would love to take Snoop. I would love to take Snoop.
Like Mike, I'm telling you, if you take Jay, Mike, it's not gonna go the way.
A lot of pressure, and I don't know if I can win that. But see, again, I want to prove the point that Big's catalog is different, and I think that we rank Jay very high overall based on catalog and his lyrical ability and stuff. And I think that it'd be easier for people to kind of pick one between the other. But you're right. I mean, Snoop has the catalog. Now, I'm comfortable taking Snoop's catalog against anybody. Maybe we can do the Snoop and Pac thing.
Oh, you want to do Snoop and Pac and do Big and Jay?
I think so.
I'm taking Pac and I'm taking Big?
Yeah, you can.
Bet that.
Yeah.
I like the Snoop and Pac thing.
Yeah. Because the whole argument is like, I mean, Snoop was bigger than Pac until 96. Till 95.
No. Snoop is... I'm going to keep on... I'm tired of explaining this to people. Snoop Dogg is rap's first superstar.
Yeah, let's do that.
Not star, superstar. He's rap's first superstar. Mike, and Tupac was walking around when he did that. Tupac was alive and breathing and well and making movies. Albums when Snoop did that.
And doing movies.
Yeah. I'm with that.
Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm with the Pac and Snoop thing.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we can do that one. This is going to be good. They say Snoop and Big wins. Okay.
I can't front. Snoop's the only person who bothers me when it comes to Tupac's catalog.
Yeah, because Snoop shit's all over the place. I got to really, really dig in for that one, pause. Yeah.
Mike, every time I hear Deep Cover now, all I hear is the glove telling me Dr. Dre bought the Clevenger. That's all I hear. Every time I hear the boom, boom, boom. boom
yeah, I'm excited about the Snoop one, actually. Yeah, I'm excited about that one. All right, y'all. Hit like and subscribe. We appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. Every Wednesday, A2HH Live. And, we got some updates coming for y'all really, really soon. We're going to work out our schedule, and it's going to be on and popping. Peace.